Welcome. Friday. Big sports weekend. Oh my goodness. My headphones go. I need headphones. Headphones are good for radio. I found that out over the years. All right. Now I just have to get my headphones untangled and I will be good. Welcome in, first viewer. I see somebody jumped in here early. Welcome in, Hector Gomez. What is up, Hector? What a weekend, man. Astros games every night, weather permitting. I've heard there's a 70% chance of rain for Atlanta. Hopefully that'll work out. Ralph Balderas, who won Ron White tickets earlier this week. Good to see you both. Let's see here. Got to make sure I can see the Altuve jersey in the background. That's a beautiful thing. Taters, there you go, Ralph. You know tater salad. Yeah, I opened for tater salad a number of times when I was a comic back at the River Center Comedy Club in San Antonio, and also at the Tulsa Comedy Club. Someday off the air, I'll tell you a story about working with Ron in Tulsa. That's just, yes, I do. Okay. So is that when is that happening? That's it. Okay, 8:15. So I just wait for the jealous again. Okay. All right, I'll make myself a note. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know either. Okay, yeah, I do not recognize it on paper. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. Steve Duraco, good morning. The original Rock, who is on a weight loss odyssey. And I'm a little jealous. A little jealous of the Rocket Man. I got that Astros baseball bat, but it's out of the shot. We got to get this little Astros baseball bat in the shot, man. Because I may start beating on trash cans here. I got trash cans. Don't make me beat on these trash cans. I'm just saying. Beating on trash cans. It's so 2017. See that? Come on, man. Foam Foot 420. You were right, Foam Foot 420. The Packers won, and that was good for the Cowboys. That was good for the Cowboys. My Jose Altuve t-shirt, and we got an Altuve jersey in the background. Woo! Woo! Here we go. Man, we got an unbelievable show this morning. So much to talk about, great guests, and here we come. I do believe the boss man running the show today, Mr. Brian Gann. So Shannon and I have to back off the F-bombs this morning. And no drugs in the studio this morning. They frown upon that.
Now, Chris Duel.
If you are not geeked up for this sports weekend, then I challenge your sports fandom We might have to take an examination of your sports fan card because, oh my God, what a sports weekend that is already underway. Thank you, Jim Morrison, Mr. Mojo Risen, the Lizard King, and the Doors for the intro music. It is the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. How about a World Series game every night this weekend? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thank you. I'll take that. Weather permitting, 70% chance of rain tonight in Atlanta. We'll get into that. How about Longhorn football in Waco, 11 a.m. on Saturday? The Horns against the Baptists. I'll take that. Thank you. Yeah, I'll put that in my back pocket. How about Spurs? Who, yeah, I know they've lost 4 in a row, and I know Shannon's going to cackle a little bit about her beloved Dallas Mavericks coming down from 20 back in the first quarter to spank the Spurs last night. But Saturday night, Spurs versus defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee. That'll be on 1200 WOAI and the Spurs Radio Network with the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. Football, college football all day Saturday. NFL football all day Sunday. And then we get Sunday night football as Cooper Rush leads the Dallas Cowboys into Minneapolis. Shannon, Salty, Sweeney, how are you doing this morning?
The Cooper Rush thing is still TBD. There's
True,
always
I got a feeling.
Yeah, I don't feel great about it. Comments yesterday from Dat kind of leaving the door open for him to sit for. So I guess it's nice for him to do that, so we're not surprised.
Yeah.
And given that it is the Vikings, right? They're 3-3 again. It's prime time, and Kirk Cousins historically horrific during prime time. So I think there's a chance that it'll be fine. But also I think given last night's Packers victory, which then ties up everyone in the NFC East with one loss, I think it relaxes them a little bit of that. If they were to lose this game, they would not be behind by 2 games.
Yeah, but my goodness,
but you
Shannon,
don't want to lose.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm trying to say here.
I know you're not trying to say that.
I'm trying to prepare myself for number 4 not taking the field on Sunday, because it feels like that's where we're headed at this very juncture.
Yeah, listening to Dak's comments yesterday, Dak Prescott talking to the media, and I'm paraphrasing, but his saying, I want to play. I'm doing everything I can to play. And he said, but there are certain thresholds that I need to meet in order to play. Then he said something along the lines of, I'm not sure exactly what those thresholds are. Excuse me?
How is that? What?
Excuse me? And then Mike McCarthy talks to the media and he goes, well, if Cooper Rush, if we hand him the ball, everybody has confidence in Cooper Rush in the locker room. There was just reading tea leaves, Shannon, from Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. It was just you're right. It's like they're preparing us for the Cooper Rush trick or treat nightmare. Will it be a trick? Will it be a treat? I don't think it's going to be Cooper Rush giving us a treat on Sunday night.
What? I can't believe Mike McCarthy said that. Does he? I mean, we said it yesterday. Cooper Rush has not played since 2019. Has not thrown a pass for the Cowboys since 2017. Threw 2 passes. Only one of them was catch.
And they cut him last year, by the way. Don't forget that. They cut it. They said, yeah, we got Danuch and we got the Red Rifle. See you, Cooper.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my
now,
gosh.
But this is why we love sports. Because if indeed, well, first of all, let's pray to God Dak miraculously recovers and plays on Sunday night and all is right with the world.
Holy Spirit, activate.
Yes.
Holy
but there was,
Spirit, activate.
Boom. I remember rookie Clint Longley on Thanksgiving Day, November 28th, 1974, Texas Stadium, throwing that long touchdown pass to Drew Pearson to win the game. So, what we love about sports is maybe Cooper Rush, if he has to play, God forbid, maybe he shocks the world and dazzles us as Cowboys fans and writes his name next to Jason Garrett, who was forced into action on a Thanksgiving Day, and Clint Longley. And I know it ain't Thanksgiving, it's Halloween on Sunday night, but that's why they play the games. But I must tell you, and when you said this, I want to just say, and it sounds so cowboy-like, and I know it's not what you meant, specifically, but you use the term, the Cowboys can relax a little bit because the Packers beat the Cardinals last night, and the Cardinals were 7-0. And oh, by the way, the 72 Dolphins, those of whom are still alive, popping their champagne last night. They're 17-0 season, undefeated, even though now we play 20-game seasons, or 21 if you got to play an extra game in the playoffs. Their undefeated Super Bowl championship run is intact. But see, that's what the Cowboys have been like since 1996, the last time they sniffed a Super Bowl. They relax a little bit where we got this. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can afford this loss to the Vikings because hey, you can't think that way. Now there's only one bye. There's only one home field and a bye, a first round bye. You got Brady in your division, in your conference. You got Arizona looked damn good last night, as did Green Bay. Arizona, Kyler Murray, that was you said this yesterday, and I was with you. It's the first time I got to really look at Arizona for multiple plays this year because they just haven't been on local TV, and I've been watching Cowboys mostly. When they're hitting on all cylinders, they are a dangerous football team.
Yeah, and the way that game ended last night with that fade to AJ Green. AJ Green just didn't turn around.
AJ looked for the ball.
He would have had it.
Yeah.
But I was driving in this morning, and they made a great point. He's brand new to the team, and that kind of thing, even though we're 8 games in, is something that comes with chemistry and not necessarily play design. And so I think maybe 9 times out of 10, they hit that pass, and he does turn around and he does catch it. It just was one of those moments. But yeah, I don't think they're going to slow up now that they've got this one loss.
Let me ask you, Shannon, though. You say AJ Green is new to the team. And I was listening as well. Brady Quinn on that 2 Pros and a Cup of Joe show, talking about it this morning before our show. And apparently, in according to LeVar Arrington and Brady Quinn, it sure looked AJ Green thought it was going to be a quarterback sneak in all probability. He went to the line of scrimmage and thought, all right, it's Kyler Murray. He's going to just run this in. It's going to be a quarterback draw. But still, even if you or it was our first day with the Arizona Cardinals and we're at the goal line with seconds left and we're wide receivers, don't we, based on our years of football experience, go, wow, this play may break down. I need to look just in case he chunks the ball at me. Yeah. I mean, I'm amazed the dude didn't even look for the football.
I mean, it is AJ Green, right? And he's, not a huge head case, but he's a guy that when it happens to him, you're like, yeah, that makes sense that he wouldn't even turn around. In that instance where he thought, not my problem.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Especially then, post game, did not speak to the media. He will be fine.
That is just chicken bleed.
Days.
I have so much. I have so much more respect for you as a player or a coach if, especially in times of adversity, you take your lumps and you take your medicine and you talk to the media. When you're a diva, when you're a sore loser and you can't talk to the media after maybe you blew a game, I was kind of, I didn't have an opinion on AJ Green really before last night, but I lost a bit of respect, if not a lot of respect for him in a situation like that, refusing to talk to the media even if you don't think you screwed up, tell us. Yeah. Tell us what you were thinking.
Exactly. That clears a lot up. And it's not like their first loss of the season. They're fine.
True.
It's not like they've been losing over and over again and then they had that shot to actually get a win and then you blew it.
Yeah.
But you see Patrick Mahomes taking the stand and really accepting all of the blame for the struggles right now with the Chiefs. I mean, that is the type of leader you want. You don't see him skipping out.
Well, and you say leader, and even if, and Popovich does this for the Spurs a lot too. When something goes wrong, and in Mahomes' case, if you're a leader, even if it wasn't your fault, you go, that's on me. You know what? I need to get better. I need to do better. Yeah. And I've seen that over the years a lot from Pop. We see it from Mahomes. And yes, indeed, he's a big, big leader. All right. And what we're going to do now, we do this on the 20s throughout the day and into the night. It's cool. It's the Grand in Your Hand cash contest, your chance to win $1,000. And I say somebody's going to win the money. It may as well be you. We're going to give you a keyword right now and all day long into 9:20 on the 20s, and then a place to text it. You do this and you're in the running for $1,000. Here it is.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword deposit to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard message rates apply.
Hey, Beth Settle.
Contest. That's deposit to 200-200.
Deposit. I don't know if I'd deposit the $1,000 if I wanted. I might just spend it. So our thanks to the boss man, Brian Gann, making the show operate this morning while he runs several news operations across the country this morning for iHeartRadio. Always appreciate his help and great work. Great show this morning, Shannon. And it's a jam-packed, action-packed show. In the next segment, not only the high five play of the day, but you and I will each pick 3 college football games and NFL football games against the spread, because we're not weasels. We don't just pick winners. We pick against the spread. Paul Alexander, we love him on all things football and the World Series. He's going to join us just after 7 o'clock. Also in the 7 o'clock hour, Shannon's Salty Shakedown, sports history, sports birthdays, and then a huge 8 o'clock hour. The voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer, will not only talk Texans and NFL, but he has a great radio talk show in Houston. So he's locked in on the Houston Astros World Series run as well. Speaking of World Series, our go-to guy on all things baseball, Astros, and World Series, Mike Hardball Hardge from the Sports Grind. You hear Mike Hardge along with Calvin Casey, Jonas Clark, and Sam Freese every weekday right here 2 to 4. But we love grabbing Hardge, especially during this World Series, to talk to us. And speaking of which, Shannon, I am hearing 70% chance of rain tonight in Atlanta. I don't even know what happens if this thing gets rained out. I guess everything just, because it was going to be Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, games 3, 4, and 5 in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I guess everything gets backed up a day. I have no idea how they're going to do this if it gets rained out. And for my entertainment purposes this weekend, Shannon, I'm buying enough beer for Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night World Series action, plus Cowboys Sunday night football. So I don't want the weather messing with my planned beer consumption this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know what will happen either. If they would then not play whatever day it rains, but then instead of having that day in between Atlanta and Houston, if they have to skip that,
I would,
because they have the TV schedules
that's
to end on the 3rd. That's when
so
they're
big.
this is the last day. This is when it will all end. Game 7, November 3rd. Yeah. And just off the top, it's raining. Does a break in time something? Does that? Who do you think that assists at all?
I would say
Probably
Atlanta
down at that point, right?
Yeah, I would say Atlanta, because they have an open air stadium. They've probably dealt with rain more. And as we heard on the broadcast the other night, in Houston, it's so hot in the summer and they rarely open that roof. They did it for game 2 of the World Series. So I think Atlanta deals probably game in, game out, at home, certainly, with rain delays more than the Astros are used to. That's a guess.
Okay. Yeah. I'd
what do I know?
rather
But
us
that's a guess.
not even have to deal with it. And then I saw this morning, and we're 2 games through. I didn't even really notice. No one is wearing a World Series patch.
Whoa!
Which
I see it on the hat, but that's the only place I see it.
So the jerseys, they didn't get enough, and by enough they mean they didn't get enough to then add them to jerseys that they sell to fans. So because they couldn't put them on jerseys to sell to fans, because I guess they weren't making that money, they decided to not end up putting them on the players' jerseys, which is interesting because they said there's not enough because of a supply shortage. So they have enough to put them on the players' jerseys, but because they can't turn around and sell them on other jerseys for a higher price because of World Series jerseys, they're like, we're not going to make any money off of it. Why would we sew it onto our players? That's so crazy. Very MLB to me.
Yeah, but also just, and again, the supply shortage, Shannon, we hear this across the country from all kinds of corporations. There's a work shortage. There's a personnel shortage. I mean, even the airlines are saying, please, we want to hire personnel.
Yeah.
And so these supply shortages, I have to assume, are just from staffing and personnel. And how crazy. What a crazy time we live in.
And all those containers that are, if they're stuck on a container out in the ocean, look, MLB, we know how deep those pockets are. Get you a helicopter.
Yeah.
Fly out there.
Because we'll fork it
Bungee
over.
down. Yeah.
Especially if the Astros win the World Series. I am headed to Academy and I am buying merch, baby.
Yeah.
I'm going to MLB.com. I am going to merch out, especially if the Astros win the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Great show. And by the way, here we go. Starting in the very next segment, it's going to be bam, bam, bam. Coming up, the high five play of the day. Then bam, 3 college football picks from each of us against the spread. Then bam, 3 NFL locks that rock against the spread. Then 7 o'clock, Paul Alexander, Salty Shakedown, sports history, sports birthdays, 8 o'clock hour, voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer, and former professional baseball player and our baseball guru, Mike Hardball, Hardge from the Sports Grind. Crazy, big, jam-packed, action-packed show for a big sports weekend. She's Shannon, Salty Sweeney, the boss man, Brian Gann, making the show go with you till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Woo! All right. Now I got to make sure. Let's see. Dave Emilio Castanuela, welcome. Jason Paniagua, Anthony Del Toro, Luisa Alanis is so right. Backup quarterback, Cowboys. That's going to come back and bite you maybe Sunday night. Anthony Del Toro, Beth Settle. Good morning, Beth. Foamfoot 420. James Wright, good morning. Go Stros, Horns, and Roadrunners. I'm with you on all of those. Hector Gomez, Ralph Balderas. Okay, now I got to make sure I got my picks. Picks. So let's see. I won't say it out loud because you'll have to just watch the next segment to see who the heck I'm picking. I got to pick the Longhorn game against Baylor. I just do. Oh, and Cincinnati Tulane. Man. My wife, Beth, who is watching, went to Cincinnati undergrad and law school. She was a bear kitten. So I'm going to pick that game. So that is a minus 26. Am I going to pick Cincinnati at minus 26 or am I going to give those to Tulane? All right. Michigan State. That's a great one. I'm going to pick that one. Michigan is 6. And I am going to go. And then I'm going to pick the Texas game. Baylor's a 2.5-point favorite. So it is Texas. Baylor is number 16. Texas unranked. Set. Just unbelievable. All right. The NFL picks. I have got to pick the Cowboy game. And do I go with one of these? Sometimes I make a pick hoping I'm wrong. That way, either way, I win. It's like if I pick the Vikings, like, oh, I hate it. The Cowboys lost, but I picked the Vikings. And if the Cowboys win, it's like, I don't care about my pick. I want the Cowboys to win. Buccaneers Saints, I'll definitely pick that because Tom Brady. Tampa Bay. See, Monday night is Giants Chiefs. Chiefs by 9.5. Vikings by 2.5. I can't give the Cowboys. I was about to pick the Vikings. I'll just go ahead and tell you now. I can't give the Cowboys 2.5 and pick against them and have to go minus 2.5 against them. I'm going Cowboys. Just go ahead and tell you in advance. I'm going Cowboys. I'm getting a plus 2.5, 2.5 at Minnesota. And I need to pick one more NFL game. What's another good game? See, should I pick the Texans? Because I'm going to have Marc Vandermeer on. Rams by 14.5. Panthers, Falcons. Dolphins, Bills, 49ers, Bears, Steelers, Browns. That's a good game. Maybe I'll pick that. Browns by 3.5 at home. Browns are not impressing. Yeah, that's the other marquee game, I guess. All right. Let's go. All right, I got my picks. Wes Perkins. Yeah, Wes, I'm kind of with you. Wes says the Sunday night game with Dak, yes. Without Dak, hell no. Which is why, I mean, at the moment, in fact, I'm going to leave that one open. At the moment, I'm picking Dallas. When I make that pick, that'll be the last one I do in the NFL picks. Wow, Foamfoot 420 wants to go double or nothing with Jason after their taco bet on last night's game. Yeah, I'm going to make my decision in the moment. Because, yeah, if Cooper Rush plays, and I don't like Kirk Cousins, but he's playing well this year. As you know, Wes Perkins, traditionally in the NFL, the team with the best quarterback, Foamfoot 420, you're on a roll picking sports games. I hope you're right. You guys on Facebook can't see, but Foamfoot 420, who is, now that Jeremy Fouts has left us, Foamfoot 420 is our new Nostradamus, and she says Astros 5, Braves 2 tonight. I just hope they play. But now that I see that you said that, that gives me some hope for tonight's game. A, that it won't rain out. And B, that it... Posting a Clint Longley YouTube, I see, Mr. Tracy Bogert. Thank you, sir. Clint Longley out of Abilene Christian. November 28th, 1974. I know Beth Settle remembers that day. Yeah, I mean, I'm planning to watch the World Series tonight. If that thing rains out, we can't have that. And oh, by the way, I will show you something. While the Astros can't beat trash cans, where is it? I am not above beating trash cans. I'm not above much, as you know, but let's see here. Here we go. In honor of the Houston Astros, I do these kind of weekend videos, talk about the weekend sports. I'll show this to you in a second. I haven't edited this yet. So the way I do a mark for myself on when to make the edit, I put my head down so visually I see when I lift my head. So here's my, in honor of the... Beat the trash can. All right. The Astros might not do it, but I'll do it. I will post that later today. Yeah, you know that well, Dave Emilio. Clint Longley did sucker punch Roger Staubach. There's great, go to YouTube, and there's a great interview with Roger a day of. When Clint Longley sucker punched Roger in training camp. and then ran out of there, got in his car, left training camp, and never came back because he knew Roger would just kick his butt. Roger, a Vietnam veteran, Naval Academy graduate. Roger knew some serious self-defense skills. Wes Perkins says, speaking of Abilene Christian University, the longest field goal ever was from Abilene Christian in 1876, 69 yards. How do you know that, Wes? Thanks. Thank you, sir. Yeah, and since this segment's kind of jammed, we'll move quickly into high five play of the day. Thanks, Sam. Here we go. Headphones. Good to have. Oh, yeah, I was going to say 1876. I didn't know they were playing in 1876. I got to do, I didn't do it yet. I can do a banner across a ticker across the bottom here. I normally do it. I did it yesterday. I didn't do it today. Here we go.
To the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Find Chris and Salty on Twitter at Chris Duel and at Shannon B. Sweeney.
Little Rolling Stones for you in the morning. Our thanks to Brian Gann for making that rock and roll choice. Will we get satisfaction tonight as baseball fans? 70% chance of rain in Atlanta. I am hoping game number 3 of the World Series comes off. We shall see. We'll talk a lot of baseball this morning, and we should, with World Series Game 3 tonight. Mike Hardball Hardge, our baseball go-to guy from the Sports Grind at 8:35. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans at 8:15. He'll certainly talk Astros baseball with us, as will Coach A, Paul Alexander, who's going to join us just after 7 o'clock. Jam-packed show, jam-packed segment. In a moment, Shannon and I will make our college football picks against the spread for the weekend, plus our NFL picks against the spread. I still haven't figured out Cowboys Vikings yet because we don't know who's going to quarterback, but I'm going to decide in the moment with the music happening, and I'm right in the middle on that pick, but we'll find out here in a second. Before we make our weekend football picks, it is time for the high five play of the day. Appropriately sponsored by High Five, 2 locations in the Austin area. And if you're a sports fan, they got everything you're looking for. Big screen TVs everywhere, great food, great drinks, food specials, drink specials, great games, bowling, axe throwing, laser tag, and so much more. Head to one of the 2 High Five locations in Austin. You will be glad you did. Shannon, who deserves a high five this morning?
Well, just to tack on to that, listen, it's Friday or Sunday is Halloween.
Yes.
And there will be a Dallas Cowboys game on, as well as the World Series. So High Five is helping you out, everyone.
Oh,
who
gosh.
wants to watch sports and not have to be out in the neighborhood with your kids. You can all go to High Five and enjoy the costume contest and trick-or-treating, as well as take in the games on all those big screen TVs. So, they've got you covered there this weekend. Woo! So you don't have to miss any of the action, and you don't have to disappoint your children for either short-term trick-or-treating to get back in front of a TV, or just not going at all if you're that kind of person. Today's high five is going to one rookie, Najee Harris of the Steelers, of course, out of Alabama. Chris, I'm sure you've seen the Lowe's commercials going on throughout the NFL games that feature a couple of different stars, Najee being one of them. Where they're doing good in their communities. Well, now we have a little bit more backstory on what Najee Harris was doing for his Lowe's project. He went back to Greater Richmond Interfaith Program, a place that took him and his family in when he was 12 years old, and they were homeless at the time. It's in Southern California, where he is from. He went back there with Lowe's in partnership, and they completely re-updated the place. New floors, new walls, new fences. They added a garden. They created a kids play center. They updated the area for retired vets. just really taking care of a place that needed some love, for as much love as it's put out to people and their families. He's done that. He went on to say, look, I didn't really get back here a lot when I was at Alabama. I just didn't have the time. But he held his draft party there. He went back soon after his draft and took some of the kids there to a Giants baseball game. So he's really making an effort here to give back to that place that gave him so much, and to provide some inspiration to those kids who are there going through it at a tough time. I just think it's fantastic. So high five to him, high five to Lowe's, and high five to the Greater Richmond Interfaith Program.
Totally agree with you. High five, Najee Harris. And, somebody like Najee Harris, as you document, Shannon, who personally experienced a homeless shelter as a kid, and God love him. He's so successful now. He could have just not looked back, but just looked forward and forgotten what couldn't have been an easy life growing up and in that homeless shelter, but to give back and help other people who can use the help now. Wow, I absolutely love it. Najee Harris, I'm going to become a fan. I was aware of him, but I wasn't aware of that. So that is an outstanding high five. All right, let's do some weekend football picks, Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Let's start with college football. Appropriate
music. Do we
music.
need a score update, or are we going to skip over that?
You want to do a score update?
We can, yeah, because I just updated them in a minute. You are tied at 12-12, so you're breaking even, which I think is fantastic. Better to break even than to lose anything. I'm currently sitting at 14-9-1 when it comes to.
So you're kicking
football.
my butt.
Well, I haven't had some great weeks, so you're playing a bit of catch up here. But I'll start things off for this week. College football, Georgia versus Florida. Listen, Georgia, I feel like, is untouchable, and this line to some, maybe early on in the season when we haven't seen what Georgia could do, might seem large at 14, but I like it. When they're playing the Florida Gators, I'm going to take Georgia here minus 14 over Florida.
Shannon, going with Georgia. Yeah, they do look unstoppable. And defensively, they've given up so few points this season. I am going to pick the Cincinnati-Tulane game, an 11 o'clock start. It's on ESPN2. We'll be watching Longhorns against Baylor at 11 o'clock. But the reason, and Cincinnati's a huge, insane favorite. They're a 26-point favorite. But the reason I'm picking them, Luke Fickell, the Cincinnati coach, and that Bearcat team, a year ago, they go undefeated. They didn't get into the tournament. I got a feeling now that they're at number 2, they want to hold on to number 2 and demonstrate to those selecting the Final Four for the college football playoff that they are the real deal. They're going to run up the score at will. Tulane's 1-6 coming in. Cincinnati's undefeated 7-0. So I am laying the 26 points. You can have those, Tulane. I say the Cincinnati Bearcats, the alma mater of my wife, Beth, Bearcats are going to win that one by more than 26. I'm picking Cincinnati.
Ooh, that's a big one. Good on you, sir.
Give it to me.
Next, I am going to take the underdog in Colorado versus Oregon. That line is minus 24 in favor of Oregon. I'm taking plus 24 with Colorado. Oregon played UCLA last weekend. They did come out on top. I did pick that game, and I did win with that game, but it was still pretty close considering what I thought Oregon was capable of. So I think Colorado can cover here. I think Oregon still gets the win, but 24 was just too much for me to pass up. Colorado plus 24 against Oregon.
And I wipe a tear from my eye as I hear the USC fight song in the background. I remember once we had a good football team. Those were the days. All right, I'm going to pick my second game. I love this game. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's 11. So many good 11 o'clock games tomorrow. This is on Fox, but I'll be watching Longhorns Baylor. It's the Battle of the Michigans, and they're both single digit in the top 10. Number 6, Michigan, 7-0. At number 8, Michigan State, 7-0 at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan. Michigan, a 4-point favorite on the road. Shannon, I like Jim Harbaugh. He's a madman. He's a lunatic. He's insane. He is much maligned at Michigan. Their alums wanted him out before the season began. This is more of a heart than head pick. I'm picking Michigan. I'm laying the 4 points. Give me Michigan -4 at Michigan State in a battle of undefeated teams.
Yeah, I almost went there, but I didn't want to touch it. And you going with your heart with Hardball I almost fear that he may give the Michigan fans another reason to say,
yeah.
this
If they lose this, they're
experiment
going to hate him. You're
is
right.
over with.
Yes.
But I do like the pick, and I would root for Michigan in this one over Michigan State. But I just don't know. I just didn't have the guts you had today to take that game. My final pick, college football this week: Notre Dame -3.5 versus North Carolina. Listen, it's just Notre Dame. I don't think Mac Brown has the guns to keep up with them in this one. And with it being that close, I got to take the 3.5 points. Notre Dame -3.5 versus North Carolina.
Going with the Fighting Irish. That's Shannon's final college pick. My final college pick, I got to pick the Texas game. I pick Texas every week that they play. I pick UTSA every week that they play. UTSA has a bye. 11 o'clock on ABC television. The eyes of the nation and the eyes of Texas are going to be on this one at Waco, McLean Stadium. Baylor coming in at number 16. They're 6-1. Texas at 4-3. Baylor a 2.5-point favorite. Sark and the Longhorns, Shannon, had the bye week last week, licking their wounds after those two tough losses to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. I'm going with the Longhorns. I think they're going to be ready to play. Plus, they're a 2.5-point underdog. I'm getting 2.5 points on this one. Longhorns to win this thing outright over number 16 Baylor. Give me the horns.
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right.
I feel good.
I do not feel as good as you do. But we shall see. But I really hope you're right. All right, ready for some NFL?
Let's do some NFL picks. Why the heck not? Yes.
All righty.
Yes.
Yes. I'm going to start off predictable here, Chris, because I've been picking them, and they're kind of my other team. I don't like to touch the Cowboys because I feel that one too emotionally. I'm already so emotionally invested. I don't want that to sway me. The Bills, I like them. I follow them. But I don't ride or die. Let's just say that. So I'm going to take the Bills. They're playing the Dolphins. The Dolphins are, the Dolphins. So I'm going to take the 14. Bills -14 against the Dolphins this weekend.
I think that's a good pick. We saw the Bills, blow out people like 35-0 this year. So a 14-point spread in the NFL is big, but
the Dolphins.
Yeah, exactly. The Bills have proven, and this one's at Buffalo. They did that at Miami earlier in the year. I think that's a really good, safe pick. This is going to be a really good game. Cleveland Browns host the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's in Cleveland at First Energy Stadium. Browns, a 3.5-point favorite. It's time for the Browns to put up or shut up. Baker Mayfield, are you for real? This running game for the Browns. Steelers, not a shell of what they used to be. Ben Roethlisberger, no big deal anymore. Steelers are 3-3. Browns are a floundering 4-3. I'm going to put my faith in the Browns. I'm giving up the 3.5 points to Pittsburgh. Give me Cleveland -3.5. I can't believe I'll be rooting for Baker Mayfield this weekend.
That was one I looked at, but do we know if Baker's playing or not yet?
Good question.
That
we don't know for sure.
I didn't want to touch it, but I like that pick. Browns -3.5 versus Steelers. All right, my second one, because I like to go against NFC East teams, and I feel like this team is due for a win. And if it should come against anybody, it should be this team, the team of flowers, as we learned yesterday from head coach Nick Sirianni. The Lions, not favored in this one against the Eagles. So I'm going to take the Lions at +3.5 against the Eagles. I think it's their time to shine. And by that, I mean, get maybe their one and only win on the season, but who better for it to be against than the Eagles? As a Cowboys fan, I will get to hold on to that for an entire season. Lions +3.5.
I think that's a great pick. Just like last night with the Arizona Cardinals, it's hard to go undefeated. You're eventually going to lose one, and they did. It's also hard to go 0-17. Yes. Nobody's gone 0-17 because it's never been a 17-game season. But, so I think if the Lions are going to win, they're at home. This is a good day to do it. I think that's a good pick. My next, I can't get my eyes off of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers ever since he's gone there last year. It's must-see TV. It's 3:25 Sunday on Fox. It's going to be my appetizer before the Cowboys game on Sunday night. 4.5 point favorites are the Buccaneers on the road at Tampa Bay. I can't trust Jameis Winston and the Saints. Saints were successful in the regular season twice against the Bucs last year. I think Brady comes in firing on all cylinders, so I'm laying the 4.5 points. I believe the Buccaneers will win this game. Give me Tampa Bay, give me Tom Brady and the Bucs minus 4.5 at New Orleans.
All right. I like it. And Jameis Winston facing his former team for the very first time with that one should be a good one. Hopefully, he should be fine. He had an issue, right, when he was playing for Tampa Bay of throwing to the opposite team. So maybe that'll work in his favor this time around. All right, my final pick for NFL Week 8, I was very surprised to see this line. Colts versus Titans. The Colts currently favored at minus 2.5. Of course, the Titans just came off of that huge win over the Chiefs, only allowing 3 points. I would dare say the Chiefs are better than the Colts. Don't really trust Carson Wentz. Don't really trust the Colts in general. So I'm going to take Titans plus 2.5 over the Colts.
I think that's a good pick. I mean, you got Derrick Henry in your backfield. Just give him the ball. And you got a good chance of winning. When I wrote these down right before the segment, Shannon, I'm picking Cowboys Vikings game right now. I have written down, and I'll show the people on Facebook Live. I had picked the Cowboys before this. Minnesota's a 2.5 point favorite. It was like, I can't pick the Vikings and give my beloved Cowboys 2.5. But the more I think about it, Shannon, this is one of those games. I hope I'm wrong, because I think Cooper Rush is going to play in this game, and I can't see Cooper Rush on the road beating Mike Zimmer, the former Cowboys defensive coordinator, now coach of the Vikings. I don't like Kirk Cousins. I obviously love the Cowboys. I want them to win, but I'm doing a last-minute switcheroo. I am picking the Minnesota Vikings and laying the 2.5 points. And Shannon, I hope you slap me around on Monday morning and make fun of me and humiliate me because I was so wrong to go against the Cowboys. I'm picking the Minnesota Vikings minus 2.5 over my beloved. I'll be crying. I'll be swearing. I'll be drinking heavily. My beloved Dallas Cowboys losing on Sunday Night Football to the Vikings.
Listen, I hope you're wrong too, but I won't be slapping you around because as much as Cowboys fans would rejoice in a win, especially with Cooper Rush at quarterback, I don't think that would change anyone's mind about Cooper Rush. I don't think that moving forward would be like, oh, Dak can't play this week. That's fine. We have Cooper Rush. I don't think anything will change in that perception of what Cooper Rush is and what he can do. So there will be no slapping around. It'll just be like, yeah, that was the rest of the team that did that for the Cowboys this weekend.
I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you were wrong as well, sir.
Yeah. So okay. That's it. You have a recap or no?
Recap, all right.
Yes.
NFL. Chris has the Browns minus 3.5 versus Steelers, Bucks minus 4.5 versus the Saints, Vikings minus 2.5 versus the Cowboys. I've got the Bills minus 14 over the Dolphins. Lions get their first win, plus 3.5 versus the Eagles, and the Titans plus 2.5 versus the Colts. Back to college football, week 9. Chris has Cincinnati minus 26 versus Tulane. The big game, Michigan minus 4 versus Michigan State, and Texas plus 2.5 versus Baylor. I've got Georgia at minus 14 versus Florida, Colorado plus 24 versus Oregon, and Notre Dame minus 3.5 versus the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Read them and weep, and we will post those at Ticket760 on Twitter and at AM1300 The Zone so that you can track those over the weekend, and you can call in or write us on Monday morning or throughout the weekend and mock us at will. And we always enjoy that. Coming up, Coach A, Paul Alexander, our football guru on college football, NFL football, and the World Series. Jam-packed show all morning long. She's Shannon Salty Sweeney. I'm Chris. Till 9 on the Chris Duel Show. John Williams, I am a Brady fan now. Yes, I am. I do admit. And I totally flipped. Didn't like him until about the time he turned 40. And Belichick was ready to send him down the river and go with Jimmy Garoppolo. All right. I am going to grab some coffee. Give you a little Mike Taylor for your viewing pleasure. Mike Taylor and the Mike Taylor Dancers. As I grab my coffee. Nothing but the finest. The finest K-Cup has to offer. All right. I'm going to take this coffee to the microwave. And then after I guzzle my coffee, we'll begin the drinking process. I mean, it's the weekend. It's a big sports weekend. All right. Back in a sec. Talk amongst yourselves. Woo! I got coffee. I got coffee. I'm a coffee achiever. Got my little napkin on there because it's hot. It's hot coffee. Might get Mike Taylor to sit in here more prominently on the show. Let's see. Put him. Now, I don't want to obscure the Jose Altuve jersey. I don't know. Yeah, I can have him like right next to Altuve. Maybe. Foam Foot 420. Hey, Duel, can I get a foam foot, easy for me to say at this time of morning. Can I get a Foam Foot 420 glass slipper pics on YouTube? I don't know what that means. You're assuming I'm hip and can understand what that, I'm not sure what that means. Glass slipper pics. By the way, and especially for like Wes Perkins, but not only Wes Perkins, with StreamYard, during commercials, if anybody wants to jump on this stream with us, I can send you the link. And if any of you want to just jump in and do it means she kicked my ass in the bet last night. Thank you, Jason. I didn't get that. Hey, Foam Foot, you absolutely. Pick the games, send them to me and or Shannon, and then we'll that's fun. Then we'll post your picks. I mean, especially, you, Wes Perkins, Jason, the people who are in here most mornings. Most of you in here are kind of regulars. Tracy Bogert, Steve Duraco, Hector Gomez, James Wright. Beth Settle is a regular. Clint Proctor. Luisa Alaniz, certainly a regular. So, yeah. But anyway, as I was saying, just to get a little crazier with this video, and it's on the StreamYard platform. If you ever want to jump in here during a commercial break, and even on the show, if you want to be the studio audience on the screen, I probably mute you because they wouldn't hear you over the radio. But Wes, I want to do that on Spurs React as well. Wes Perkins has joined us in studio for Spurs React. We're using this StreamYard platform for Spurs React as well lately. So I want to get that Astros bat in the shot. See, it was not totally in the shot. I want to make sure it's in the shot. So there's that. And you can still see Mike Taylor and Cardboard Breggy. So we got Astros bat, Astros flag, Sam Ellinger, Cardboard Breggy, Patty Mills, I know he's no longer a Spur, Jose Altuve jersey, and Mike Taylor. So there's that. Paul Alexander about to join us, the boss man, Brian Gann, getting him on the phone line as we speak. And I don't see Brian talking, so now he's talking. So I was wondering if that was going to voicemail. I think he's got Paul. We love Paul Alexander. Paul was in here the whole show with Shannon a little over a week ago. Thank you, sir. So I got coffee. Thank you. I got Pure Leaf unsweet tea. Not much left. But I got more. I know where there's more. I've got Bud Light, America's favorite lager, my favorite beer, and it is 2021. I got hand sanitizer. That's right. Woo! Woo! but I don't drink the hand sanitizer. I do just to show you more of my COVID precautions. Come into the studio, and I spray everything that I can spray with this, except for the equipment, obviously. But countertops get a serious Clorox cleaner and bleach attack. Kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. Says it right there. It's that 0.01% that'll get you. I'm just saying. And of course, always bring duct tape, because you never know. So many uses for duct tape. So many uses. It's always good to have duct tape handy. I can duct tape my Clorox spray to my hat. Here we go.
Now, Chris Duel.
What a sports weekend it is. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. Weather permitting in Atlanta, we are going to have World Series baseball every night, tonight, tomorrow night, Sunday night. You're going to have college football, big-time college football beginning tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning. Texas at Baylor, other great games. Some really good NFL games. Shannon and I just picked our weekend football picks, NFL and college. And then Sunday night, we're going to be channel flipping between the World Series Game 5 and the Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk all things football, college, and pro. Let's talk World Series with one of our favorites. And again, a man I thank a little over a week ago Monday, he was kind enough to come into the studio, do the entire show with Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. He's done everything in broadcasting on every level: reporter, anchor, host, play-by-play guy, executive. Now he's got a tremendous website that I highly recommend, radicallyrational.com. The one and only, the pride of Lockhart, Texas, Paul Alexander. How are you doing this morning?
Shannon, good morning and happy Friday. You know, it's a little bit bittersweet for me because I love October so much, and I love October weekends, and this is the last weekend in October, which kind of gives me the shiver and shakes a little bit, but all I can say is let's go ride the rides and have some fun. Happy Halloween and go football. I
love every bit of it, Paul. And other than maybe Super Bowl weekend, you know, maybe a weekend during the NCAA Final Four, you look at this weekend, Paul, and I know there's rain possibilities in Atlanta for the World Series tonight, but we get a World Series game each night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got some pretty darn good college football. Texas at a ranked Baylor Bear team in Waco, among other games. We have a Sunday night primetime Dallas Cowboys football game with questions at quarterback for the Cowboys, and the Cowboys playing as well as they have since they last went to the Super Bowl 30. This is like one of the better sports weekends of the entire year, I would think.
This is about as good as it gets, and I'm glad you guys were talking about the slates in college football and the NFL in the previous hour, because you look at the games we got coming up this weekend. This is big time. You know, and one of the things I love about football is that, quite honestly, last Saturday, you kind of looked at the slate of college football games and went, yeah, I mean, it's great because it's college football and we can watch for 14 hours, but I've seen better slates. And then it just turned tremendous. It just turned fantastic. So if all these things come to fruition, this should be one of the best weekends ever. And like you guys, I'm nervous about this World Series thing. There's nothing like postseason baseball. I mean, your heart's in your throat on every pitch. I just hope the Astros stay hyper-aggressive like they were in the second inning of Game 2. That was great.
Well, a lot of it started last night with that Thursday night football game between the Packers and the Arizona Cardinals. No more undefeated teams in the NFL. Cardinals end up taking the loss. How much of that do you put onto J.J. Watt not being there for that defense? Could they have done more? Or how big of a piece is now missing for that defense in the Cardinals? And will that, will that continue to hurt them down the stretch? Because I think some people see it as, well, he's an older guy. What was he really doing? We've got young blood on this team. They'll be just fine. But there did seem to be a little bit of an issue with their defense last night.
There did, although when you look at the Packers, and let me just take the sack on this, I really thought the Packers were going to struggle, in part because of all the offseason stuff with Aaron Rodgers. And here they are at 7-1, and they're getting it done with their defense. If you look at this, Rodgers has had another great season. They're really not scoring a lot of points, and they didn't score a lot of points last night. As for the Cardinals and their defense, I think you have to look at two different periods here. When J.J. Watt made the transition to the Cardinals, he joined a new team, he got a new system, he had an off-season hamstring injury that really slowed him, and he's always such a wonderful presence. But he did look a little rusty to start the season. And then we moved the calendar to October, and he didn't look like anything other than J.J. Watt. I mean, that guy was a Tasmanian devil again. So he was playing at a very high level. So it's not just losing his leadership, it's losing his productivity. And that's a blow to the Cardinals, but they're going to be okay. And Chris and Shannon, think about this. When was the last time we had this many top-flight teams in the NFC this deep in the season? I mean, I think I'd have to go back to like 1968 or something like that. And I'm ashamed to admit that I can go all the way back to 1968. But this is great.
As can I, Paul, as you know. And I got to ask you this, Paul, because Shannon and I were talking about this in the 6 o'clock hour, and you were a very, very excellent wide receiver at Lockhart High School, the Lockhart Lions. You've coached football. You are a football analyst and guru. The play that loses the game for the Arizona Cardinals at the end, Kyler Murray throws the ball toward A.J. Green, but A.J. Green wasn't looking for the ball. I've heard this morning national analysts, in fact, on our air, Brady Quinn and LeVar Arrington saying, A.J. Green must have thought Kyler Murray was going to run that ball in for a touchdown and that it was a quarterback draw. But as a wide receiver in that situation, don't you need to, even if you think Kyler Murray is going to run that ball in on a bootleg of some kind or a quarterback draw, don't you need to have your head on a swivel and be ready for anything? And then, so respond to that, Paul. And then part two, A.J. Green refusing to talk to the media after the game. Your thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, let me take the second one first. That was very disappointing. I really liked A.J. Green. I always have. I have tremendous respect for him. Everybody I've talked to says that he's just an uncommonly great teammate. And he toiled in obscurity there with Cincinnati all those years, and that just kind of seemed a little out of character. On the other hand, I'm sure he was frustrated. I look at the replay on that. I mean, he is running a route. I mean, he is trying to stem the guy. I heard a couple of people on TV this morning say that, if it's been a back shoulder throw, I guess that would have been to his left shoulder, that at the very least it wouldn't have been picked. But it's really frustrating for people when you've got that kind of communication lapse at that level. I'm sure he's frustrated. I'm sure he's angry. About the only people that were happy about that, I guess, aside from Packer fans, was any member of the 1972 Miami Dolphins. They're still sleeping off the hangover again. Frustrating for them. But here's the Cardinals are going to be fine. That's a really good team.
Well, with the Cardinals suffering that loss, there are now, as we said, no undefeated teams, but the NFC is in a tight race, but the Cowboys are right up there with them. Chris and I were kind of having this debate earlier, so we'd love your take here. There's a chance that Dak won't play, which would mean they need to go with Cooper Rush. And it seems like the Cowboys of old would probably see what happened last night and say, okay, if we were to lose this weekend, instead of being behind 2 games, we'd really only be behind 1. So maybe we give Dak the rest anyway, whether or not he can go. Your thoughts on that, and then the possibility that they might not play with Dak this weekend?
It's so great to love something as much as we love football, because here I am, 150 years old. I'm in my truck yesterday, and I'm really having this internal debate with myself about whether or not I would play Dak Prescott. and both sides of me were winning the argument. I think that I would really want to make sure that he's stable. I would not want to risk anything. It's pretty clear that if this were a playoff game, et cetera, that, he could rub some dirt on it, tape it up, and go. But I would hope that the standard would be a little higher than that. The Cowboys, obviously, are going to be among the teams in the NFC that have a chance at that top seed. And remember, there's only one bye in each conference starting this year, now that we have the 17-game schedules, et cetera. You don't want to get complacent about the fact that you play in the NFC least or east, but you do have to be kind of analytical about these things. So I hope that he plays. Generally speaking, I'm of the philosophy that football players get paid to play football. I'm sure that he wants to go. I think as football fans, we're all excited because that really is a marquee matchup. I would just want to make sure that he's close to perfect. And I have no way of evaluating that. And only Dak and possibly the coaches and the medical staff are in a position to do it. I hope he can go. If there's any significant doubt, I would sit him down.
Paul, as you mentioned, you can go all the way back to 1968 in the NFL and beyond. In my book, you are the foremost Dallas Cowboys historian and analyst, and you will know in 1968, Don Meredith was the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. They also had a pretty darn good backup in Craig Morton. One of my pet peeves with the Cowboys, except for last year, I think last year they had it right. They had a good backup quarterback, at least we thought. The Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, was an NFL veteran with many, many games, and he'd been to the playoffs, and it was like, if something happened to Dak, well, we got Andy Dalton. Before last year, and now again this year, my problem with the Cowboys is with all the money they invest in this billion-dollar football operation, they do not do their due diligence at backup quarterback. Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert and the taxi squad Ben DiNucci just, to me, are not reliable guys in a year that we have a shot to do as you just described, get the best record in the NFC, get the bye, and be in a great position for the playoffs. How do you feel about what the Cowboys prospects are and the choices they've made this year at backup quarterback?
Well, I'm completely on board with you, Chris, and particularly the way the rest of this offense is constructed. That offense is a Ferrari. That offense is a Maserati. And you can't take some I don't want to be disparaging, but you need a driver that is capable of driving a Maserati. It'd be one thing if you were really, really run heavy, and all you want to do is control the ball, game manage, etc. But when you've got that kind of passing game, if you've got those kind of receivers, you've got to get the ball to them. And I completely concur that the choices they have at backup quarterback right now are not guys that can do that. And like you, it just kind of makes me slap my head and go, come on, guys. Put some planning into this. And I really love the reference back to 1968 because that was Don Meredith's last year, and he played with horrible injuries all year long. And then, of course, had that the whole team, it wasn't necessarily Meredith's fault, but they had that meltdown in the playoff game against the Cleveland Browns. That ushered in the Morton era. But Morton had been there for 4 years and had been a first-round draft choice. And it was just such a different time because, there was that feeling that any quarterback needed to spend 5 years on the bench before he started. And now we have guys getting drafted and they start from game one. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a different thing.
I'm sitting here thinking about this game, and I think if this was the Cowboys of last year, and you were to tell me, listen, Dak's going to be sitting out, Cooper Rush is going to be in, which he wasn't even on the team last year, but he's going to be in, I'd be like, this game is already over because I know our defense can't do anything, and our offense is just, the deal with the offense when Dak was playing was that we could potentially outscore what our defense could hold against. But this year, the defense is a lot better. And Trayvon Diggs, obviously, he's basically good for an interception week in and week out. So how do you see them adjusting the offense when they do have Cooper Rush? Because it is so versatile right now. But for a guy who hasn't thrown a pass for the Dallas Cowboys since 2017, how do you see this shaking out? And how do they continue to remain versatile but without getting in bad spots with Cooper Rush?
Well, you got to throw it because you can't be one-dimensional, but maybe you change the look of your passing game. You know, Dak is so great on deep drops and deep drops off play action, etc. And he takes those shots downfield, and they have such a great scheme with all the diagonal routes across the field. Probably not going to be able to do that with Cooper Rush. You still got to throw the ball, but you go to 1 and 3 step drops and get it out of his hand in a hurry because
I'll hit the contest as soon as he's done with this answer. Paul Alexander joining us. We will talk Texas Longhorns with Paul, and I do want to talk a little more about the World Series Astros Braves with him. But right now it's 20 after the hour. We do this on the 20s all day long and into the night, all the way till 9:20. It is the Grand in Your Hand cash contest, and it goes like this.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword cash to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's cash to 200-200.
Good luck on the contest. We'll do that again at 8:20 and on the 20s throughout the day. We are talking football, and we'll talk a little more World Series with our football and sports guru, Paul Alexander of RadicallyRational.com. Paul, let's talk a little Longhorns versus Baylor Bears. Many of our listeners and viewers will recall you not only created the original Longhorn Pipeline radio show, but you covered the Texas Longhorns even in Austin and were part of the Texas Longhorns coaches show on television for a number of years. So you're not only a Cowboys historian, you're a Longhorns historian, fan, and analyst. I got a feeling, and Paul, I picked Texas in this game. Baylor's a 2.5-point favorite, but I think a bye week, 2 weeks for Sark to prepare for Baylor, licking the wounds after 2 tough losses to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. I think Texas is going to come out with a vengeance in Waco. How do you see this game on Saturday? Tomorrow morning, kickoff at 11 o'clock.
Well, the official scorekeeper better bring an abacus. Keeper is going to be busy because Texas cannot stop the run, and Baylor cannot stop the pass. So that's kind of fun. That's kind of the way I see it. So it may be, last team with the ball.
A huge game this weekend, and the location of ESPN's Game Day, Michigan versus Michigan State. Chris, in our picks today, I'm sure you heard he is sticking with Hardball. I'm not sure. Should this not go Hardball's way, or do you think we've officially ended the run for him? Because it's like every week he gets the fans on his side and then they go away. And not to mention, I don't think they've even played Ohio State yet, so he's still got that to overcome.
I think he maybe gets one mulligan. And by the way, this is just seat of the pants on my part. I'm not basing this on anything substantive or analytical. This is just a gut feeling. I think Sparty's going to get him again. Now, he'll get a mulligan because it'll be their first loss, but then you better beat Ohio State, and good luck with that.
Yeah, when I was in Canton, Ohio over the summer, I ran into some Michigan fans, and they wanted him gone ASAP. They were like longtime Michigan alums, and they said the Hardball experiment had just gone on too long. So, yeah, he's just got to win out if he wants to keep that job and sway all those Michigan people who are done with him. All right, Paul, we got to talk Houston Astro baseball. Thank goodness they got back into this series in game 2. They lose game 1, 6-2. I was getting worried. They couldn't go down 0-2 in my mind. They had to find a way to win game 2. Indeed, they did, 7-2. Jose Altuve found his swing again, hit a home run. I'm still worried, though, Paul. Alex Bregman in a slump, and Carlos Correa has not yet really shown up in this series. If indeed Mother Nature allows tonight and the rain chills out a little bit in Atlanta, how do you see this playing out tonight? And how do you think the Astros will fare in the 3 games this weekend in Atlanta?
See, I'm going to be a glass half full kind of guy as an Astros fan. Hey, it's 1-1, and Bregman and Correa haven't kicked in yet. Right, we're all 8 firing here, So I'm very optimistic about that.
So, and let me ask you this, because I still get this, Paul. I'm an Astros fan. On the live video feed right now, I'm wearing my Jose Altuve t-shirt. I got my Astros baseball cap, and I still get from people, oh, they're cheaters. They suck. I could never pull for cheaters. And to that, I say, first of all, everybody's been stealing signs in baseball since the 1800s, and state-of-the-art technology in the 1800s was binoculars. And yeah, the Astros broke the rules in 2017. They paid a price. A.J. Hinch, gone. Their manager, Jeff Lunau, the man who constructed this team, gone as general manager. But I do say this, Paul, to the haters, there is no way the Astros are cheating now. No baseball team's been under more scrutiny for the last 2 seasons than the Houston Astros. But for you, Paul, and you are a purist, you're a man's man. How do you handle people when you say you're pulling for the Houston Astros? How do you respond to people who say, they're cheaters, I could never pull for them?
Well, it depends on what your definition of is.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Exactly. Okay, no, there's no question about that. You go back to that championship season. They were breaking the rules. They were breaking the rules in a different way. You're exactly right. Is the first day that baseball players started to steal signs was the first day that baseball was invented. I'm not defending it. As a matter of fact, I condemn it. I'm not saying that's the reason that they won the World Series, because they're a very, very good baseball team. But for people who are hanging on to that and using that as an excuse to hate the Astros, the one thing you know for sure is they ain't cheating like that right now. And the other thing is, you got a team here that's gone at least to the league championship series 5 years in a row, and you want to tell me that the foundation of that team is cheating? Get out of here.
Amen and applause. And Paul, we're up against it, but as always on the way out, I advise people to go check out your website, radicallyrational.com. If people do what they should do and go take a look at it, what are they going to find there?
Having some fun. We do both a sports blog and a news blog every day, dark and early. And thank my lovely wife, Joe, for assisting me with that, because it's part of our morning routine. So talking a whole lot about the Packers this morning. On the sports side, got my weekend NFL picks, talking a little college football. And also, this is really interesting, the letter that the NAACP sent off to the players.
Ooh, yeah.
NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball and soccer and the WNBA saying don't play in Texas. Actions have consequences.
Boom. That is a big, big issue, Paul. Absolutely. Head on over to radicallyrational.com and catch all of that. Lots of great video Paul puts up there for you, fresh every day. Coach A, Paul Alexander, always outstanding, sir. Have a wonderful sports weekend. We'll talk next week.
Let's all go sack Kirk Cousins. What do you say?
I'm there. You like that. You like that. Coach A, Paul Alexander, coming up. Shannon, Salty, Shakedown, this day in sports history, sports birthdays, and more. 8 o'clock hour, Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans. We'll also talk Astros with Marc as he covers them in Houston on his radio show. Speaking of Astros and World Series, Mike Hardball Hardge joining us just after 8:30. She's Shannon, Salty, Sweeney. The boss man, Brian Gann, makes the show go. Till 9, it's the Chris Duel Show. Woo! 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 I need ice, more ice for my tea. I need more coffee. Dean Stone, good morning. I had some dreams. They were clouds in my coffee. Clouds in my coffee. You're so vain. Dean Stone, you probably think this song is about you. I'm kidding. Dean Stone's not vain. But he did fly his Learjet up to Nova Scotia to see the total eclipse of the sun, which, by the way, on April 8th, 2024, you won't have to fly your Learjet up to Nova Scotia. You just got to go to Kerrville. There you go, Dean. And remember this, there's going to be people in San Antonio in April of 2024 going, hey, man, we're getting 99% of the eclipse. I don't need to go to the center line. They don't know what they're talking about. 99% of the eclipse, the sun is 10,000 times brighter than in totality on the center line. On the center line, day turns to night in midday. The stars come out, temperature drops about 10 degrees. It's way, way cool. All right, I'll be back in a sec. Woo! 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 I got coffee. I got ice. Ice, ice, baby. I got tea. I got beer. I got hand sanitizer. I got a Clorox spray. I got Blistex for those chapped lips on a windswept October day. I got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. All right. On Facebook, it looks like Sam Ellinger is carrying a football and a basketball. Is that right? Oh, it sure does. Look at that. Very observant, Louisa. I did not see that. Foamfoot 420 says, I am missing Torchy's tacos. I have yet to have Torchy's tacos. In fact, there's one not far from the station at 1604 and Stone Oak Parkway. When I go, and I may go next week, I will video my journey to Torchy's. I will video my first Torchy's taco consumption. And I did this once. I I saw John Williams bring up Walter Pasacreta earlier. Walter Pasacreta was drinking and raving about Bud Light Orange. And I thought, Bud Light Orange, this has got to be awful. So I set up my video camera on a tripod, turned it on. I said, all right, it was my first ever Bud Light Orange. I opened it up, took a swig, expecting to like spit it out and go, Walter Pasacreta, what's wrong with you? This is awful. I expected that. I was going to mock him. And I took a sip and I thought, damn, this is good. Bud Light Orange tastes like Orange Crush. Only it's beer and it's orange like the Jose Altuve jersey. I got to get my Astros bat better in the shot there. Thank you. 1 minute out, says Brian Gann. Yeah, Jason, I know. I've got mixed emotions. And part of the problem is people in Austin for a long time have been saying they have the best tacos in Texas. And we in San Antonio know that's impossible. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons I've avoided Torchy's tacos, because I knew they were not indigenous San Antonio tacos. But I think Shannon and I had this discussion, though, this week. I don't think I've ever had a bad taco. Tacos, by definition, are goodness. Now, granted, obviously a Taco Bell taco is not special, but it's not bad either.
We're back. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweet. Join in by dialing 1-800-707-9760.
Sampling a little Layla in that song. Layla, originally by Eric Clapton, written about Patty Boyd, who was his buddy George Harrison's wife, but Eric had a thing for Patty. Patty had a thing for Eric. So Eric goes up to George Harrison, goes, think I'm in love with your wife. And George essentially said, you can have her. I'm George Harrison. I do transcendental meditation with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Have her. We'll still be friends. It'll be fine. And I'll go find Olivia Harrison. There you go. Shannon, your little rock and roll tryst discussion of the morning.
Thank you so much.
Exactly. I digress. Welcome in. It's the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Thanks to Brian Gann for playing the music and making the show go this morning. In a moment, Shannon's Salty Shakedown, always thought-provoking, always enlightening. That's coming up in a sec. But want to remind you, big 8 o'clock hour as well. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, going to talk to us at 8:15. Not only will we preview this weekend's Houston Texans game and ask him why the heck did they trade Mark Ingram back to the New Orleans Saints? What's going on over there? But he covers the Houston Astros, obviously, extensively on his radio talk show in Houston. So we'll talk some Astros baseball with Marc Vandermeer as well. Speaking of Astros in the World Series, just after 8:30, Mike Hardball Hardge, professional baseball player, baseball analyst, Astros fan, Mike Hardball Hardge, going to join us just after 8:30. Of course, you can catch Hardge on the Sports Grind on this radio station, wherever you're listening, from 2 to 4 p.m., along with Calvin Casey and company, 2 to 4, Mike Hardge. But we get him today just after 8:30 on this show. In a moment, Shannon's Salty Shakedown. But first, some sports birthdays. And this day in sports history, October 29th, 1960, Muhammad Ali, coming off the Olympics, fights his first professional fight ever in Louisville, Kentucky, his native Louisville, Kentucky. He beats Tunney Hunsaker on points in 6 rounds. The rest of that professional boxing career would turn out pretty well for Cassius Clay. Later, he would become Muhammad Ali. On this day in 2008, the World Series, the Philadelphia Phillies beat the Tampa Bay Rays in Game 5. They take the series 4-3. They win the game 4-3 in Game 5 to take the series, to put it more clearly. That was the Phillies' second title in their 126-year history. Your MVP was Phillies pitcher Cole Hamels. Another World Series was decided on this day in 2014. The San Francisco Giants beat the Kansas City Royals 3-2 in Game 7 at Kansas City at Kauffman Field. It was the Giants' third title in 5 years. Your MVP was Giants starter Madison Bumgarner. And finally, on this day in 2018, Golden State Warriors shooting guard Klay Thompson breaks the NBA record for three-point shots in a game. It was previously held by his teammate, Steph Curry, at 13. Klay hit 14 three-point shots to set a new NBA three-point record in the Warriors' 149-124 win over the Chicago Bulls in Chicago. That's your sports history. How about some sports birthdays? Born on this day in 1960, the same day Cassius Clay fought his first professional fight, NFL nose tackle Michael Carter, who played with the 49ers in Super Bowls in 1984, 88, and 89. He was a Pro Bowler in 85, 87, and 88, first team All-Pro in 86, 87, and 88. He was also won the silver medal in the shot put in the Olympics at Los Angeles in 1984. Michael Carter was a stud, and he was born in Dallas, Texas. Born on this day in 1974, baseball pitcher and Cy Young Award winner R.A. Dickey played with the New York Mets and the Toronto Blue Jays, led the National League in strikeouts in 2012, Gold Glove Award winner in 2013. He won the Cy Young, as I mentioned as well, born in Nashville, Tennessee. And finally, born on this day in 1983 in Youngstown, Ohio, running back Maurice Clarett out of Ohio State. Was supposed to be a big thing in the NFL. The NFL career never worked out for Maurice Clarett as people thought it would. But nonetheless, happy birthday, Maurice Clarett, R.A. Dickey, and Michael Carter. There you have it. Those are your sports birthdays. That's your sports history. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, countrymen, including farm animals, here it is. This will carry you over through the whole weekend. Your salty shakedown.
A very baseball-themed salty shakedown today, which makes sense. It is the World Series, and we are talking plenty of Astros baseball on this show. So let's start there. Justin Verlander, of course, a Houston Astro, of course, a part of that 2017 World Series team.
Mr. Kate Upton.
Yes,
by the way. Yeah.
but he's been absent for quite some time after Tommy John surgery. He's been with the Astros the last 2 years. He's made $66 million, sir. That's nothing to scoff at. And he will be turning 39 soon, and he'll be a free agent here soon. And he recently posted a video on his Instagram after a workout. It was a video of his daughter running up to him. And someone very interesting, sir, commented on that video. One Miguel Cabrera, a former Detroit Lion teammate of Verlander. Cabrera still with the Lions. He's got a couple more years left on his contract. And then he says, I'm done. I'm going to retire, because he too is 39, going on 39 at this moment. And he says, come back to you familia, the D. So he is begging in public on Instagram. Seems like tampering, if you ask me, for the ace to come back and pitch one more time with the Lions. Of course, he performed really well there, or excuse me, the Tigers.
Same cat family.
Yeah. The Tigers, but they never won the ultimate prize, which was a world championship. Now, given that the Astros need to shell out a lot of money to keep Carlos Correa, and I don't think Mr. Verlander will be demanding the same amount of money that he got previously, given the injury, given the age. But is he worth trying to keep if you need more money to go to Correa at this moment, do you want him, or are you okay if he goes back to Detroit at this moment? I mean, we need some more aces, but I don't know if he'll be the same coming back from this injury.
That question hurts me, Shannon, because I like Justin Verlander. I even like Kate Upton, his wife. But you're right. 39, coming off Tommy John surgery. I hope he stays an Astro at a discount, but if you made me make the choice, Carlos Correa is a transcendental, once-in-a-generation player. I love Carlos Correa. I would have to say, Justin, Kate, see you in Detroit next year and throw some more money Carlos Correa's way.
But if you're Verlander and your wife is Kate Upton, I'd have to figure that living most of the time in Houston probably more fun than Detroit.
Yes.
And they were also good friends with the Staffords. Kelly Stafford, Matthew Stafford's wife, posted on the video too. They're no longer in Detroit. So who are you going back to? Who's your buddy other than one Miguel Cabrera? I don't know.
Great question.
Just interesting to think about.
And oh, by the way, Justin was being paid by the Astros each of the last 2 seasons. But one other thing, and I wonder if there's weird, hard feelings, he was going to throw out one of the first pitches in the postseason, either World Series or ALCS. And apparently Astros players voted that he not throw out the first pitch. That was a weird story, and I think a troubling story. So maybe there's a little dissension there. I don't know.
Or maybe a little saying it's a distraction. We don't want him to throw out the first pitch, and then people will be talking about, well, why isn't he pitching?
Yeah.
So I kind of get that from a player's perspective. All right, keeping it with baseball, we move on to the PETA news that came out yesterday, Chris. PETA released a statement saying it's time to get rid of the term that's always been used in baseball, the bullpen. In the statement, they argued that the term isn't animal friendly. It's a place where they keep terrified bulls before slaughter. A bullpen demoralizes the talented players and mocks the area of sensitive animals. They would like it to be changed to arm barn. Chris?
PETA.
Some things are just too far.
I respect PETA people. I love animals. I understand your heart is in the right place, but PETA, you need to pick your fights. And this is just stupid. Bullpen is a baseball term. Again, we said earlier, Shannon, like stealing signs. Bullpen goes back to the 1800s. No, PETA, pick another fight. This is stupid.
Yeah. And I don't think the Bulls know that bullpen is being referenced in baseball.
That's a good point.
Just
We're not hurting their feelings.
Also, I know like Brown Rock Express, the Dell Diamond has hosted like rodeos and stuff or like events like that. I wonder if they actually use the bullpen to hold. I don't know. I've never been out to one, but I know that they have them. But yeah, I agree with you. Pick your battles. I get it's the World Series. You're probably raising awareness, whatever. And this has obviously become a huge thing. But the arm barn, of all the names that you could maybe change it to, they were like, well, that way you can keep the animal stuff and their pitchers, and they use their arms a lot. So let's go with arm barn. I mean, that just sounds ridiculous if you ask me. But that's kind of wrapping it up for baseball because, Chris, I want to move into the dictionary, which I know is so popular. But we've got some new words added to the Merriam-Webster dictionary for 2021. So I want to make sure that you are aware and know the definition of these words because it's important to stay on top of things. So a lot of the first couple are going to be shorthands. All right. So we've got TBH. Do you know what that means?
TBH. I've seen it before. I don't know what TBH means.
TBH is an abbreviation for to be honest, Chris.
If
you're low on Twitter characters, TBH.
TBH.
Another shorthand. You can pretty much guess what it is just in saying it. It's the spelling of it that's different. It's am I right? Spelled AMIRITE.
Am I right? So in other words, am I correct? Am I right?
Slang version that's now official in the dictionary. So kids, if you're writing your papers, I think it's fair to say that you can now put that in there instead of writing the full 3 words. Finally, in the short form, we've got FTW. You've got to know what this one is.
FTW.
We use it in sports a lot.
For the win.
For the win. Very good, Chris.
Thank you very much.
All right. And some out of the coronavirus world.
Uh-oh.
Super spreader.
Super spreader.
Something we hear a lot in sports, right?
Yes.
Super spreader events, large.
Hey, Cole
group of
Beasley.
people
We're looking at
coming
you,
together.
Cole Beasley.
Yeah, he's the host.
Yeah.
He's the host.
In fact, in the dictionary next to super spreader, there is the picture of Cole Beasley, which is kind of cool.
When it comes to food, we've got a fluffernutter.
Be careful there.
Are you aware of what a fluffernutter is?
I'm gonna behave myself here and say I don't know. Although one of those terms, and I'm not going to go into it, but one of those terms has another meaning. But help me out. What is it?
So I first became aware of this while watching the Wahlburgers burger series. Wahlburgers, apparently they grew up with these, and they actually have it on their Wahlburgers menu. It's a sandwich made with peanut butter and marshmallow cream between 2 slices of white sandwich bread.
See, when I was a kid, there was a Nutter Butter peanut butter sandwich cookie, and the slogan was, give me another Nutter Butter peanut butter sandwich cookie. So if I would have thought that through, Shannon, from my having that jingle in my head, I might have gotten this one.
I don't know if you have any of these in San Antonio, but we've got a couple popping up in the Austin area, a ghost kitchen.
No, that sounds intriguing. What is a ghost kitchen?
It's a commercial cooking facility used for preparation of food. So basically, we have some that are standalone restaurants where you can pick up or you can do delivery, but it's just a storefront where you would have a pickup or delivery. You don't eat it in. You just pick up the food. There's a kitchen in the back. We have another ghost kitchen over in Central Austin. I think it's called Kitchen United, where it's about 5 or 6 different restaurants, and so it's just the kitchens, and you come in and they've got a little conveyor belt and your order comes out from the back, and there you go. And it's kind of cool because you can order from like all these different restaurants at once.
My goodness.
And just come by and pick up your order. They're kind of the new thing in this takeout world. All right, moving on. Chris, dad bod, very popular social term. It comes out of the pop culture world of this year. Have you heard of the dad bod?
I've heard of the dad bod. Yes.
Physique regarded as a typical or average father. There's nothing wrong with the dad bod, but I like that it's in the dictionary now. Yeah. I like that it's now formal to have a dad bod. It's not just something we made up anymore.
There you go.
And finally, we'll circle back to baseball here on this one because a baseball term has been officially added to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. To end things today, we have small ball.
Nice.
I kind of was like, that's always been a thing, right? We're just now adding it to the dictionary, but of course it's the offensive strategy that involves at bats that take advantage one or more base runners into scoring positions. There you have it. Today's educational salty shakedown. More words than those have also been added. So if you're interested, just Google those new words added to the dictionary.
That was tremendous. Another outstanding salty shakedown. And, I hear small ball a lot, Shannon, in the NBA as well. Yeah. I hear Bill Schoening on the Spurs broadcast. And, when a team goes small and, a bunch of guards jacking up 3-point shots, they go small ball.
That is the second definition for basketball, a game strategy based on speed and agility of players as opposed to a height and physicality. Could you imagine I forget what they call it, but they do it on ESPN, the spelling bee.
Yes.
And some kid fluffernutter.
And by the way, Jason Paniagua, I could never spell fluffernutter, but Jason on our live video feed saying fluffernutter sandwiches are awesome. So there's that. We'll have to look into that, certainly, coming up. But wow, I enjoyed the dictionary linguistic portion of your salty shakedown this morning. Yeah. Very, very cool.
Spice it up from time to time.
We got a big 8 o'clock hour coming up. Your good buddy and friend of the show, and I think friend of everybody's, especially during baseball season, Mike Hardge, Hardball Hardge. He is just such a tremendous baseball resource. So we're second time this week, and we're going to do this if this World Series moves into next week, and it should. I don't think either Houston or Atlanta is going to win 3 in a row in Atlanta, but we'll grab him again next week for Game 6 and a possible game number 7. But Mike Hardball Hardge going to join us just after 8:30. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, coming up in a few minutes at 8:15. How are you feeling about Astros tonight, Shannon? Gut feeling, A, will there be a game because a 70% chance of rain in Atlanta, and B, it's a pivotal, somebody takes a 2-1 lead. How do you feel?
You know what? Our poll question today over on Twitter, Ticket 760 AM 13 on the Zone. We're asking how many games will the Houston Astros win in Atlanta this weekend? I voted 2. I don't know that it'll be tonight, but I also think that should there be a rain delay and the Astros are down, they may make some adjustments and come back and figure things out.
And that's what they did at Fenway. They won 2 out of 3 in Boston, so it would be true to form. And that series started out 1-1 after 2 games in Houston. So let's hope the past is prelude to what happens this weekend in the World Series. So fasten your seatbelts. It's a tremendous 8 o'clock hour. Marc Vandermeer, voice of the Houston Texans. He'll also talk Astros with us, and we'll talk World Series with Mike, Hardball, Hardge, and more. Also, Ron White ticket giveaway and another grand in your hand cash contest. Big 8 o'clock hour is next on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! Woo! Foamfoot 420 says, and Facebook people can't read this because she's telling us this as Jason is on YouTube. My glass slipper says Astros win tonight, lose tomorrow, and win on Sunday. Yeah, and I think that's a good prediction. I don't think either team wins 3. That means one of them wins 2. So hopefully it's the Astros. Okay. Do I need to fire up my coffee for the next? My coffee's gotten a little lukewarm. I think I need a I need a jolt. Let's see here. Get Mike Taylor to sit in for me. Don't want to have the glare on Mike. All right, so I got ice. I'm gonna go get some coffee. Anthony, he went to another radio station. Anthony wants to know why Rudy J left the Sports Grind. He went to another radio station. He's a turncoat. I love Rudy. I'm kidding. But he's a turncoat. He's a traitor. How dare he? How dare you leave us, Rudy J? I'm a fan. I like Rudy J a lot. Jolt Cola. Jolt. I remember Jolt Cola. Yeah. I had to. Me on triple caffeine is not a good idea. I'm just here to tell you that. Be right back. Woo! Woo! Thank you, Mike Taylor. Thank you, Mike, for filling in. 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock this afternoon. 4 to 7. Foamfoot 420 saying Rudy J is a traitor. Well, and it was bad news, good news. I like Rudy J. I think he's great. Hate to see him go. But, and I never knew, I heard, on the Sports Grind, Calvin Casey was saying, he's going to do a search and he's going to get somebody to, replace Rudy J. Take that. And I didn't know who he was going to get. When I heard he got Mike Hardball Hardge, I was like, oh my God, that is so brilliant. That is such a score. So kudos, mega kudos to Calvin Casey. If indeed, he's the guy who ultimately made that choice. Obviously, he came to an agreement with Mike Hardball Hardge. So it wouldn't have happened if Hardge didn't want to do it. But I think that is about as much of a home run as you can hit to bring him on board to the Sports Grind. Okay, so Marc Vandermeer at 8:15. Let me see here. I'm thinking as soon as we wrap Vandermeer at about 8:25, going out of the segment. Okay, thanks. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So we'll wrap Marc at 8:25, and then going out of the segment, we'll do that. Okay. Okay. But yeah, it is unusual, with the contest at 8:20 and then fitting in the Ron White, but I think that'll work. Okay. And okay, yeah, and it's so quick. I think we've usually been able to hit it cleanly, so hopefully it'll be fine. Robert says, good morning. Don't know who's the soundscape stylist, but I can't believe y'all are picking the Vikings over the Cowboys. That was me, Robert, and the reason I did it, I don't have any confidence in Cooper Rush. Listening to Dak Prescott yesterday, I think he was paving the way for I'm not going to play. I really want to. And listening to Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys head coach yesterday, saying we all have confidence in Cooper Rush, and if we hand him the ball, we're all confident he can. It sounded like both of them knew. And the Vegas line flipped yesterday from Cowboys by 2.5 to Vikings by 2.5. Vegas knows something. Yeah, Warren Wheeler just wrote, Vikings have played well all year, just had some bad bounces. Yeah, Kirk Cousins, and I don't like him, is completing a really good percentage of his passes. So I think I do agree. I think the Vikings are better than their 3-3 record suggests. Thank you. 1 minute out. Let's see here.
So did Parker tell you about the Grand Ole Opry?
He did. He told me that yesterday. Now, he didn't tell me if he was going to go. Is he going?
I haven't heard any more, but I told him he had to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yeah, number 5,000.
Yeah, I hope he can.
Yeah. Well, and it would be cool, and I don't think he will, but it'd be cool, just for the show, if he got some audio. But if he's going backstage, my God, if he got a couple of interviews and then aired them on the show.
Yeah, he could tweet with some emojis. Oh, wait, that's Charlie.
I told him, I said, you got to get photos if you're backstage. Here we come. Yeah, what we're talking about, Charlie Parker has the 5,000th show of the Grand Ole Opry is this weekend, and somebody associated offered Charlie backstage access and tickets.
Now, Chris Duel.
Welcome into an 8 o'clock hour as we embark upon a glorious sports weekend. Houston Astros, Atlanta Braves in the World Series, weather permitting, with a lot of rain in the Atlanta area, at least tonight. We'll see what happens, but scheduled for tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday night, games 3, 4, and 5, all of them with a first pitch at 7:09 p.m., 7:09 p.m. first pitch. Great football, great college games over the weekend. Longhorns at Baylor at 11 a.m. on ABC television. Of course, we bring that to you in San Antonio on the Blowtorch, the 50,000-watt Blowtorch, 1200 WOAI for that Longhorns broadcast if you're in your car. You got Michigan at Michigan State, some great college games. Then Sunday, NFL football all day, and then dessert at night. Cowboys Sunday night football versus the Vikings, and World Series Game 5. Shannon, that's what's going to be the challenge for me on Sunday night. I'm a crazy Cowboys fan, and I'm a huge Houston Astros fan. Going to be a lot of I love that remote controls have the little button that says last channel, so you can just hit that one button and go back and forth. Going to be a lot of back and forth for me on Sunday night.
Yeah. And I hope that it stays that way. I hope I don't feel like one of my teams is out of it too early to where I feel like I can't watch anymore.
Yeah.
But it is going to be. They didn't think about us Cowboys fans when they scheduled this World Series.
Yeah. Well, and that's a huge point too. And you would think, I don't know what Jerry Jones, I got a lot of influence, but you would have, if you'd have thought about this, you could have known when the schedule came out that there would be a World Series game on Friday night, Halloween night. So whoever gets that Sunday night game, and maybe that's why the NFL said, all right, we're either getting Tampa Bay or we're getting America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, or we're getting Mahomes.
Yeah.
So maybe that was the NFL saying we need some audience, so let's get the Cowboys involved.
It'll be that's game 3 of the series in Atlanta. So should one team win tonight and tomorrow, then that would be a potential World Series winning game.
Yep.
So if that's the case, I think you may get some more viewers over there, but otherwise I think NFL will still dominate in viewership.
Yeah, you walked us through the ratings numbers yesterday, and I mean, still, as much as I am geeked up and you are geeked up, and Mike Hardball Hardge, who's going to join us just after 8:30, is geeked up for the Houston Astros. The rest of the nation, I mean, NFL numbers, Baseball, even in the World Series, can't compete with a big-time NFL game.
Now, we talked about rain earlier, right? And that is a potential. During the regular season, if they can see bad weather incoming, don't they move games up or back, depending on – I mean, I don't know. It's World Series. I know you're trying to get primetime, but also if you're saying the World Series has to be done by November 3rd, could you maybe move some – I mean, because I would not be upset if the World Series on Sunday got moved up. And I got to watch all of that game and then just go into the Cowboys.
That's a great idea. That would be
putting it out there.
That would be tremendous. Or I would not be upset if one of them has to get rained out and moved to Monday. How about Game 5 Sunday night? So I can just because I again, and Paul Alexander, who we had on an hour ago, is good at reminding us of this. When you're in the middle of football season like we are now, you go, we got football. It's Halloween. We got football. It is truly an expiring commodity. I mean, it goes by, you blink your eye and football season ends. So you've got a Cowboys game in Sunday Night Football with the Cowboys having such a great season as they're having. I don't want to channel surf away from that on Sunday night, but if it's Astros in the World Series, I'm going to have to.
I was watching, I think it was like SportsCenter or something. They were talking about college football and they were doing like team studies and they were like, to start the season, I was like, to start the season's halfway over with. We're halfway there. Yes. You know, we talked with Coach A earlier about how much he loves October, and he's right. October is just so great weekends back to back to back. I don't think the next thing that comes up that'll be reminiscent of October is until Thanksgiving, right? When it's rivalry week in college football. You have the games on Thanksgiving for the NFL. It's gonna be weird.
And before you know it, decades, we would be talking about Texas versus Texas A&M. I hate to bring that up, but it still drives me crazy that was a part of our lives forever, and now it's gone.
Well, and I don't know how you feel about it, but November 1st, I don't know what stores you've been in lately, but it's basically going to be Christmas.
You're right,
and Monday.
That's Monday.
I love it. I love the holidays, but it does make it feel that much faster when people are so excited to get to a date in December. That would mean regular college football season is over with, and we're that much closer to the playoffs for the NFL.
So crazy. And, you know, Shannon, I remember, and you do, and we all do, in 2020, a year ago, the pandemic year, we were just, let's just get out of let's just get me to 2021, man. Let's just get to 20. And this Monday is November. We have banged out 10 months of this 12-month. We got 2 months left in 2021, and then we're on to 2022. That is just where is the time flying to? Because it's going by pretty quickly.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Want to remind everybody, big hour right now, 8 o'clock hour. In just a few moments, Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, going to talk with us. Texans take on the Rams. There was big Texans news this week. Speaking of which, there's another one right there we're going to have to ask Marc about, Shannon. November 2nd, Tuesday, NFL trade deadline, Deshaun Watson. Are you going to be a Texan? Are you going to be a Dolphin? You're going to be a Carolina? I mean, that's even if it doesn't happen, that's a big story for the Houston Texans. It's going to break on Tuesday, one way or another.
And who else are they looking to potentially move? I mean, Brandon Cooks voiced his frustrations after that Mark Ingram trade. And, he's been really consistent, really great for the Texans this season, really solid. But given that they seem to be having a bit of a fire sale, could he also be on the trading block before November 2nd?
We'll get into all of this in just a few moments with the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. Want to remind you also this half hour, and we'll get to the bottom. Before we get to the bottom of the hour, another grand in your hand cash contest coming up at 8:20 while we're talking to Marc. And before we wrap this segment, before we get to the bottom of the hour, we're going to give you a shot at Ron White concert tickets. We've been doing this all week. Comedian Ron White is coming to the Majestic Theater in San Antonio. So right about the time we get done talking to Marc, maybe around 8:25-ish, we're going to give you a shot at the Ron White tickets. And then Mike Hardball Hardge is going to join us just after 8:30. And, we talked to him after game one, Shannon, and I was worried about the Astros. He gave us hope. And I want to ask Marc and Mike and Marc, Bregman and Correa, one of these guys going to get going in the World Series.
Or which one gets going first? Especially when Correa's looking to make how much? $400 million?
Yeah.
You earn it. Here's where you earn it.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely fascinating. Well, let's talk some Houston Texans, and let's set the stage with some music from the Black Crowes first. Listen to this one, see if you remember this one, and see if you know how it connects. Jealous again by the Black Crowes. Let's welcome him in, the voice of the Houston Texans. He will have the call high noon on Sunday as the Texans host the Los Angeles Rams. Marc Vandermeer, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Chris, Shannon. Yeah, jealous. I'm jelly. I'm jelly that the Astros are on this big stage. I'd love to be on the big stage. So obviously we support them, wish them the very best, want the Houston sports fans to be happy, but I want to make them happy, Chris. I want to be able to do that. So hopefully we can do that soon.
Absolutely. And while obviously the Astros are sucking up a lot of the oxygen in the sports world, and they should, Houston Texans continue to make headlines. You know, we got the trade deadline coming up on Tuesday in the NFL. A lot of speculation there. Are they going to move Deshaun Watson? And then the Mark Ingram trade to the New Orleans Saints caught me by surprise this week. How do you think, and why do you think that one played out, Mark?
I think what they're trying to do here, they're looking at the long term, and we don't know what they've gotten yet in return for Ingram. So I'm waiting to see that, but I bet it's pretty decent at the very least. And it's something that they can use to build for the future, and Ingram, look, he was their leading rusher. He is a great locker room guy. I loved having him on this team. I was a little surprised from that standpoint more than the actual performance on the field standpoint. But here's the deal. Now you have more carries to go around for the other guys. Scotty Phillips, who's been up before but hasn't gotten a carry, and he's been down, deactivated most of the season. I would have I'd be hard-pressed to think he wouldn't be up, and I want to see him get some carries. I think Scotty Phillips might be able to bring a little boost to this running game. We'll see what Lindsey and David Johnson can do without the Ingram carries to eat up carries in that backfield. And we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise there. And we'll see what else they do. Tuesday is a few days away, and maybe they have some other things cooking as well. Look, we all know they're 1-6, and it's a tough sled from here. But they have opportunities to win games, and I'm here for it.
With Mark Ingram going back to the Saints, David Johnson kind of becomes the big name in the running backs room. He hasn't really been the guy that I think they thought they were getting when he was part of that the D-Hop trade. Is this kind of a time for him to show that he's worthy of a roster spot on this Houston Texans team that seems to be going through a bit of an overhaul this season?
Well, I think he's certainly worthy of a spot, Shannon. I think it's that they haven't gotten the performance out of him that they were hoping for. You're right about that. Because when you look at his history, I know the injuries were a part of it, but even the last 3 games of last season, he had over 100 yards from scrimmage in those games, and it looked like the offense and the running game, the whole thing had turned a corner. As a receiver, as a runner, he could really do some things. And you still see flashes of it this year, but the last couple of games have had some bad moments. Fumble in the Colts game, missed block. Last week he slipped. But, look, on that field, you saw last night, that could be a slippery grass surface for whatever reason. There in Arizona, you saw Kyler Murray slip a couple of times. But whatever. I think that, it is an opportunity for him. It's an opportunity for everybody because nobody's doing as well as they want. I mean, Philip Lindsay hasn't done as well as he wants. Rex Burkhead really hasn't gotten a whiff at doing anything in that backfield. He's been in for a few snaps here and there, but maybe he gets some carries. And again, Scotty Phillips. So I'm looking forward to see what these guys can actually produce here with some additional opportunities in the backfield.
Talking with the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. He'll have the call high noon on Sunday. Texans hosting the Los Angeles Rams. You get that on AM 1300, The Zone out of Austin, Ticket 760 out of San Antonio. And Marc, as I look at this Texans offense, and you and Shannon talking about David Johnson, and now we know Mark Ingram moving on, Davis Mills, obviously the quarterback. I wonder now, and you got the unusual situation with Deshaun Watson. Who's the leader in that locker room of the offense? Is it the rookie Davis Mills? Do people look up to a Danny Amendola just because he's been in the league for so long? Who do you think is kind of the guy who rallies the troops offensively in that locker room these days?
I think it's still Taylor, even though he hasn't been playing. His presence is still felt. He's still out of practice. He's out of practice this week. He's come off injured reserve here, designated to return. So we'll see if they start him on Sunday or not. I think as soon as he's ready, he'll be in there. Mills is a little too young to expect that from him. And the O-linemen, they're pretty young. Laramie's not playing right now. And Brandon Cooks is the obvious guy. But he reacted to that trade. And I think with kids today, he's not a kid anymore, but, young people, they react emotionally on social media very often. That happened with Brandon Cooks this week. So I think that, and look, he was out of practice yesterday. I think everything smoothed over, but everybody kind of felt that, that disturbance in the force when Mark Ingram left. And now you have a situation where you have to fill that leadership void. And Cooks is the right guy to do it. Taylor is the right guy to do it. On defense, you have a number of guys who can do it, so they got to stick together. I mean, they have good people in this building, and good people have to find a way to stick together and, put out a good effort against the Rams on Sunday, because this is no picnic. You go from one Super Bowl contender to another.
Marc, we're going to pause really quick for a chance at $1,000. Here it is, today's keyword.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Text the nationwide keyword money to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's money to 200-200.
8 o'clock hour is money for your shot at $1,000. We do that throughout the day on both stations here and the rest of the iHeart stations. So just make sure you're listening for those keywords. Marc, we got the Rams this week, Texans versus Rams. Rams seen as a powerhouse, not just in the NFC, but in the NFL. They've really got things going with Stafford. How do you see this one shaken out between the Texans this weekend?
Well, one encouraging thing from last week, and I think it's become the strength of the team, is the D-line. They get pressure on quarterbacks. They get sacks without sending extra people, and that's something you can hang your hat on. The defense has really kept them in games. They've been, like we've talked about it every week, they've been there. The defense last week did a good job against Arizona early on. They actually scored with the safety. They're the only defense to hold the Cardinals scoreless in the first quarter all season long, and that includes last night. They still had a touchdown in the first quarter against Green Bay. So I think there's some assets there, and they'll get after Stafford. They'll find a way to get some pressure on him, and they've been watching tape, and I see some of the tape myself that there are some cracks in the armor there where you can possibly get to him from time to time. And when you do, you hope to get the ball out. You hope to force some errant throws. Maybe you get a strip sack. Maybe you can get a couple of turnovers, because you're going to need a couple to have a chance in this game. The offense is the biggest problem on this team, on the Texans, and the inability to sustain drives, to get anything going lately last couple of weeks. So you're back at home where you've played better, and you got to hope that that's a huge difference against this team, and somehow, some way, you can be in it in the fourth quarter with a chance to make plays in crunch time and win the football game. And that's what I'm hoping for. I think the Rams defense, they got a lot of assets. The Texans have faced the top 4 defenses in the league. The Rams aren't one of them. That doesn't mean they're not good. They got Aaron Donald, the best defensive player in football. So you're going to have to find a way to block him and make something happen on that side of the football.
Once again, Marc Vandermeer will have the call on Sunday as the Rams travel to Houston to take on the Texans. And Marc, out of the gate, you talked a little Houston Astros. I know you cover the Astros extensively on your radio program in Houston, going now to Atlanta for 3 games this weekend, weather permitting, tonight, Saturday night, Sunday night. We saw the Astros go to Fenway and take 2 out of 3. How do you think the Astros will fare in Atlanta this weekend?
It's so hard to predict. And the funny thing about the postseason, the last 2 series, is that it always seems like one team just doesn't have it on a given night, right? One of the teams, whether it was the Red Sox or the Astros or the Braves or the Astros, somebody's not going to have it, So who's not going to have it tonight? Or the other side of it is whose pitching is going to step up, however you want to look at it. I thought that the Braves laid off of that Valdez sinker so well, whereas the Red Sox kept swinging at it. So let's see how good the scouting is of the Braves. The loss of Charlie Morton is huge. I mean, Charlie Morton was going to be a big factor in this series, obviously, and to have him out kind of evens the field with no McCullers. I like the Astros from here, even though, like home and road, does it really matter, guys? I mean, I think we make such a big deal out of it. I think, psychologically, maybe for us it matters more than it does for them. Who knows? The funny thing in baseball is everyone's making noise whether you're pitching or hitting. It's not like football, like everybody be quiet when the home team's on offense. It's not like that in baseball. However, if you watch a college or a high school game, when the opposing pitcher is starting to struggle, that's when your dugout starts to go nuts and create noise because there's so few fans in the stand. I find that interesting. So to me, I don't think it's much of a factor. I think the Astros have the edge.
Well, let's hope you're right. And you make a great point about home and away. Astros winning 2 in a row at Fenway and 2 out of the 3. I think they demonstrated they can be road warriors when they need to. Once again, tune in on Sunday, high noon kickoff between the Texans and the Rams. Pregame with Marc, Vandermeer, and company. Before that at 11:30 on AM 1300, The Zone out of Austin. Ticket $760 out of San Antonio. Marc, have a great call on Sunday. We'll be listening. Thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris and Shannon. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely. You too. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans. Coming up, more Astros World Series talk with Mike Hardball Hardge. But first, your chance to win Ron White tickets. He's coming to the Majestic Theater in February. We got the tickets now. Shannon, the boss man, Brian Gann, picking up the phones. What number of caller should we take at 800-707-9760?
Well, last time Brian was in the house, we liked caller number 5, so let's keep it that way. Caller number 5 here, 1-800-707-9760.
Caller number 5, as in Astros in 5. Why not win all 3 games?
We do have Hardge next, and he did say.
True. We'll see if he thinks there's a shot. Good luck with those Ron White tickets. You do not want to miss Mike Hardball Hardge, our foremost authority on all things Major League Baseball, World Series, and Astros. Hardball Hardge joins us next on the Chris Duel Show. Woo! 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 All right. Warren Wheeler, why are the Cowboys thinking about trading Gallup? I like that dude. Maybe because, and I'm forgetting the guy's name who's been filling in for Gallup, who's playing really, really well. Let me pull up the Cowboys depth chart. I love it when my brain doesn't work the way it's supposed to at 8:27 in the morning. Dallas Cowboys depth chart. Now, because you have an embarrassment of riches at wide receiver, Warren, maybe Cedric Wilson is who I'm talking about. Cedric Wilson's playing really well. So you got CeeDee Lamb, superstar, Amari Cooper, Pro Bowler. You're paying Michael Gallup a lot of money, and Cedric Wilson now for like nothing. You're paying him nothing, essentially. He's playing as well as Michael Gallup. So the thinking, I believe, is maybe we can get something for Michael Gallup and we slash salary because he comes with a higher cost. But who knows, man? All right. Wow, Jason was caller number 4. You were so close. Mike Taylor, for your viewing pleasure, give him the microphone in case he wants to say anything. Oh, that screws up my camera, so we'll do that. Back in a sec. Mike Hardball Hardge about to join us. Always outstanding. Knowledgeable, entertaining, former professional baseball player. Excellent dude.
Okay, got your winner. Somebody called in. And I'm not one to win anything. I just wanted to talk about the Braves. And you can hear like every other word.
Okay. Yeah, right there you go. Yeah. Funny.
All right. Hardball Hardge going to join us. We got glare on Mike Taylor there. The glare is an issue sometimes. There's less glare. All right. Wow, Jason, 4 out of 5 for the second straight week. Mike Hardball Hardge going to join us. Brian Gann is on the phone with Mike Hardball Hardge, who will join us next. Pull up. Thank you, sir. Mike Hardge. Always like to pull up his info, because I forget which. I know originally drafted by the Expos, but I sometimes forget the other teams that he was with. There we go. There we go. All right, cool. Thank you, Foamfoot 420. Thank you for the kind words. Enjoy your Harley Quinn Halloween costume. So we got Harley Quinn, Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, and I think there was a third one yesterday. I forgot the third one. Oh, French Maid. How could I forget French Maid?
Back to the Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney.
My goodness gracious. What a weekend of sports. We've been talking about it all morning. Maybe the best weekend of sports. You just look at what you've got. World Series tonight, tomorrow night, Sunday night, Astros in it. So if you're an Astros fan like we are, it's even better. Cowboys on Sunday night, Longhorns tomorrow at Baylor, Spurs at Milwaukee. You even get some NBA action this weekend as well. That'll be Saturday night for the Spurs. But let's talk World Series. It is the biggest story of the weekend in the world of sports. Chris Duel Show with Shannon Salty Sweeney. Oh, by the way, before we bring on Hardge, congratulations, Adam Duel. Almost sounds like Duel. Adam Duel of San Antonio wins the Ron White comedy tickets. Might be Dowell. Sorry, Adam. All right. Anyway, Adam won the tickets. Congratulations. All right, let's talk Houston Astros baseball. Our favorite guy to talk baseball with played professional baseball after being an absolute stud and all-American out of Killeen. He was drafted in the second round pick by the Montreal Expos, then 13 seasons as a professional with the Montreal, Boston, St. Louis, and New York Yankees organization. Now he is with the iHeartRadio organization, big part of the sports grind. You hear him every afternoon from 2 to 4, along with Calvin Casey, Jonas Clark, and Sam Freese. Hardball Hardge, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great enough. You gave me that introduction, and I was just as excited as you about the weekend that we're about to have. There's so much going on. I don't have enough TVs, but I'll figure out to have it going on.
That's a lie. That's a lie. You have two TVs. They're both giant and they're stacked on top of each other. You will have no issues come Sunday night. You do. You're already captain. We just got here, Hardge.
Good morning, Salty. How are you?
I'm feeling a little salty this morning, as you can tell. Now, Hardge, you and I were together during Game 2 of the World Series on Wednesday night at an event. I was mingling around. I was upstairs. I was downstairs. I was outside. You and former #1 NFL draft pick Kenny Sims chilling at the bar watching the games. Or you paid attention a lot more closely than I did. What did you see, and how did the Astros pull out this win in Game 2?
Well, kind of like some of the things that we had talked about right before. Altuve finally started putting the ball in play. They were executing each inning, and I've talked about it ad nauseum, but situational baseball, when you have an opportunity to capitalize in those situations, you have to, and that's what they did. And then you look at what Uquidi did on the mound. That was a big game because not only did he throw the crap out of the ball, but he sat there and gave that bullpen some rest, some much-needed rest, especially getting ready to go into a National League ballpark where pitchers have to hit now, and now that the Astros have to find a way to keep some of those powerful bats in the lineup. It's going to be a very interesting time coming up this weekend, but as for Game 2, I think the way that they went about their business, situational hitting, driving in runners in those positions and getting themselves out of certain situations was a big part of their success on game 2.
Hardge, just a few moments ago, Shannon and I were speaking with Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, but he also covers the Astros extensively on his sports talk show in Houston. And he said on the professional level that home field advantage in the playoffs, like in this World Series, not as big of a deal to the players as it might seem to the fans. Now, you, with all of your years as a professional baseball player, you can speak to that more than any of us can because you played the game at the high level. How big is home field? 3 games this weekend in Atlanta. The Astros will be on the road. How big is that a factor in this World Series?
I think it's a huge factor because this is the Atlanta Braves. You know, that place is going Truist Field Park is going to be rocking. You know, you get the tomahawk chop, you get everything that's going into it. Those fans are just as hungry for a championship than ever. And then you also have to put into the fact that the guys that are probably going to have to play, because I just said that the pitchers are going to have to bat. You're going to look at Yordan Alvarez, who may have to play left field. You got Kyle Tucker, who's going to end up playing center field. And then you look at right field, Michael Brantley is going to end up being out there. So there's an adjustment for some of these guys that aren't used to playing in a park like Atlanta, let alone playing in different positions that they're not accustomed to. I mean, you know, Yordan is normally the DH. Now he's got to be in the outfield. We normally would have a DH batting for the pitchers. Now some of these pitchers have to hit. When's the last time you've seen some of these guys bunt? So it does make a big deal. I mean, maybe some people use it as fuel. I know Carlos Correa loves going on the road because of the energy that's brought to the game. But then you start looking at some of the other stuff, and I think it is a huge factor.
The big 3
for Houston, little Jose Altuve is taking control right now. We're missing the normal Alex Bregman and Carlos Correa we come to expect
in the postseason. Are you looking at this as glass half full? That just means that when they do come on, the Astros will be that much harder to beat? Or are you looking at this glass half empty of, oh my God, they may be our downfall in this World Series?
Well, I'm looking at it as half full because I know the potential that these guys have. They have a lot of talent, they're experienced. Maybe they just needed to get out of Houston for a little bit and get on the road where there's not so many distractions and not so much going on ancillary, you know. So maybe, you know, the one thing that Calvin and I have talked about throughout the series is we need to see the swagger. I need Alex Bregman to walk in there like Jay-Z, and I got my swagger back. I need him to have that where he's ready to go. And I think going to Atlanta, going up against this pitcher tonight, Ian Anderson, good changeup. I think this is going to be a good game for Bregman tonight.
Man, I hope you're right. We're talking World Series with Mike Hardball Hardge from the Sports Grind, where you can hear him and Calvin Casey 2 to 4 p.m. today and every weekday. One of my favorite personalities now with the Astros, Hardge, is Dusty Baker. I mean, how do you not love Dusty Baker? You just look at his history, you look at his demeanor, and certainly a guy who needs and wants a World Series championship that has eluded him. Comparing Dusty Baker to A.J. Hinch, who was the manager in 2017 when the Astros won the World Series, subsequently blown out after that cheating scandal. What do you think Dusty Baker brings to these Astros in this World Series run now in 2021?
So A.J. Hinch is somebody's uncle. Dusty is somebody's grandpa. He's that calming voice that everybody needs to listen to from time to time. He's got life experiences more than any of us will probably ever have, you know, being as young as he was when he went to the Atlanta Braves and growing up in that organization and then gone through all the stuff in the major league as far as manager, winning both divisions and pennants in both leagues, and now he's getting a chance to go for that title again. But I think he's a calming force because of what I just said, the experiences. I think the things that he talks about are the things that are going to help the people that we were just talking about, the Carlos Correas and the Alex Bregman. And he keeps that calming demeanor on all the pitching staff. Nothing's going to be too high, nothing's going to be too low. And he lets them go out there and just play ball, because at the end of the day, there is a lot of pressure. This is the ultimate achievement of being at the top, but you're still playing baseball just like you did when you were 10 years old in your backyard thinking you were going to be in this situation. Now you got this opportunity.
Hardge is locked in, as you are, to the Astros. You're also locked in on the Texas football program as well as the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, it's in question whether or not Dak will be playing. And I think you're the one that came up with the term for Cooper Rush, naming him Cooper Rush to turn it over. Your thoughts on him potentially being the starting guy and a guy we've got to rely on this Sunday night when they play the Vikings and Mr. Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I know. It's just I'm still not in a good place when it comes to Cooper Rush. I'm trying every day to find a way that I can be supportive of this as a backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. But, you know, we had a bunch of debates going yesterday talking about should he play, should he not play. At the end of the day, Dak is the ultimate competitor. And as an ultimate competitor, sometimes you have to take the decisions away from him. So if they feel like they don't want to rush this, or we don't want to have a nagging injury throughout the year that's going to be lingering around, you have to make some adjustments. And to me, if we have to go with Cooper Rush, I firmly believe that we need to run the ball so that clock can continue to roll, so Cooper doesn't have a chance to make that mistake. But he is going up against Kirk Cousins, and you know Kirk Cousins will give it up to the Dallas Cowboys any chance he gets.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. Talking with Mike Hardball Hardge. All right, Hardge, we talked World Series. You just talked some Dallas Cowboys. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. in Waco, it's the Texas Longhorns and the Baylor Bears. You have and continue to cover this Texas Longhorns football team extensively. I picked the Longhorns in the picks that Shannon and I make. They are 2.5-point underdogs at Waco. Baylor ranked number 16 coming in. I just think the bye week, 2 weeks to be seething over the tough losses to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. I just think Sark is going to find a way to have the Longhorns come out with a vengeance tomorrow morning in Waco at 11 a.m. How do you feel about the game tomorrow?
Well, I mean, thanks for motivating me on that one, Chris. You got me fired up right there. But I sit here today and I look at this team and I say, what are we good at? What is our strengths? And our strengths is Bijan Robinson on the ground. And this is a game where we talked about the TCU game. You look at the TCU game and how Bijan finished that game for the Texas Longhorns. That is the only thing that they have been lacking in these losses, excluding the Arkansas game, because that was just an abomination. So what I want to look at is how do they run the ball tomorrow and control the run for Baylor. Baylor's quarterback only throws for like 153 yards a game or something like that. It's not even that big of a number, but their running game is so potent that the Texas Longhorns defensive line in the trenches has to take over this game. At the beginning of the year, that was the one part that Sark kept talking about. I feel really good about our front line. And, I really feel really good. Right now, not so much. So those guys really need to step up and try to spend some time in that backfield.
Go ahead.
All right, Mike. Sorry about that. Finally, Hardball Hardge, we made our predictions for the World Series, and you had Astros in 5. Shannon and I had Astros in 6. Are you sticking by Astros in 5? That means the Astros have to win all 3 games this weekend.
My original number was 6, but I moved it because y'all So I'm going with 6. I'll move it to 6. I don't know if they are able to sweep. I mean, today is going to be a bad weather day in Atlanta. It's expected to be raining during the game, and it's like 52 degrees during that time. So there's going to be an adjustment there. But, just like anything else, these guys are professionals. I hope that we get a great pitching performance tonight from Luis Garcia. But I know Ian Anderson is going to be tough too. So I'm going Astros in 6 now. I'm not pushing it any more than that.
I love it. And you get a lot more of Hardge this afternoon, 2 to 4, the sports grind right here, whether you're listening to AM 1300, The Zone in Austin, Ticket 760 in San Antonio, or crystal clear on the iHeart Radio app. Hardball Hardge, outstanding as always, sir. We'll be listening at 2 o'clock today.
I appreciate it. Always good chopping it up with y'all.
All right. Thanks so much. And by the way, you can follow Hardge on Twitter at Hardball Hardge. Speaking of Twitter, Shannon, that's where our poll question is, at Ticket 760 and at AM 1300 The Zone on Twitter. What did we learn today from the poll question?
A pretty interesting results, and asking how many games will the Houston Astros win in Atlanta this weekend. 60% are voting for 2 wins out of 3, but 20% saying they win 0, and the Braves ultimately win the World Series at home. That's pretty interesting, Chris.
That would ruin my weekend,
Ugh.
among other things. So, all right. So we've talked a lot of Astros. We've talked some Cowboys, Shannon, but tomorrow, 11 a.m., you are a hardcore Longhorn alum. How do you feel about Longhorns in Waco taking on the Baylor Bears tomorrow?
It's hard to feel great about it, Chris. You always hope for a great start, and they've had plenty of great starts this season. But as we saw in the last couple of games, it was how they finished. So gonna have to stick this one out all the way through. Can't feel comfortable at any moment until that final whistle blows. Hopefully, from watching Free Solo, which is a movie that Coach Sark had them watch to learn how to finish in the end, in the fourth quarter, to hold on, to play to win, not play to hold on to a lead. Hopefully that'll work out in their favor and they will get a win, but I don't feel as confident as I have felt in weeks past.
Well, Shannon, here's hoping that all of our teams win this weekend. A lot of Astros wins, Cowboys win, Longhorns win, UTSA's on a bye, Spurs win tonight in Milwaukee, or Saturday night in Milwaukee. Shannon, enjoy. Big sports weekend.
Yeah, I mean, don't forget, if the Astros do win all this weekend, we will be coming back on Monday as world champs.
Yes! Let's just do that. Let's just win all 3.
Get it over with.
Why the heck not? Our thanks to Brian Gann, the boss man, for making the show go. Mike Hardball Hardge just now. Coach A, Paul Alexander. Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Texans. Don't forget that Longhorns game tomorrow at 11 on the Blowtorch, 1200 WOAI out of San Antonio. You can hear that across the great state of Texas. Go Cowboys, go Astros, go Horns. Have a great weekend. Adios. Woo! Woo! All right, y'all. Until next time, we will see you. Astros have to win at least 2 out of 3. I think if they win 1 out of 3 and they come back to Houston down 3-2, Game 6 would be an elimination game for somebody. The Braves are, I don't want to have to win 2 games in Houston. I at least want to have the 3-2 lead. So, everybody on Facebook Live, thanks for being here. Astros tonight, 7:09. Longhorns tomorrow, 11 a.m. Astros each night this weekend, 7:09. Spurs Saturday night. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Foamfoot 420. And Cowboys and Astros on Sunday night. My God, what a great sports weekend. All right. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you Monday right here at 6 a.m. Going to be a few things to talk about. And happy Halloween.